What's going on, ladies and gents? Good evening. From anywhere where you are in the world, hello. Good to see everybody in there. Let's do an audio test, as always. Make sure she is working the way she should be. Let's check audio down here. Let's just make sure she's working and where she's supposed to be at. We always try to put on 70. Seems to work out pretty well. There we go. Alrighty then. Let me see here. Oh, I don't know why that's set on that, but let's do it that way. Alright. What's going on, everyone? Let's see. What's going on? Oh, man. Let's get this set up here. Again. Alright. Seem to be doing good here. Looks like the usual suspects are in there this evening. 420 Alien, Photography Like Magic. Mimi Reacts, John Stoller. Says evening all. What's going on there, John? Good to see you in there. Joss D's in the house. What's going on, Joss? Renee von Oosterhout's in there as well. Custom Tailored One. Carl Johan is in there. He says, hey, Chris, from Denmark. Good to see you in there. Thank you for joining us, Carl. Mimi's in there. Arts and Crafts is in there. James Cragen's in there. Stig. What's going on, Stig? Elaine Millard's in there. Architect Net. What's going on? Good to see you in there as well. John Beck. Well, it's good to see everybody, of course, but it's sometimes you don't make it to all of them. A lot of people don't, but they got work and stuff, and I understand. There's a lot of things I can't do either because I got to work. Let's see. David Clark's in there. What's going on? Let's see. Okay, we got them. 420 Alien. Man, somebody's talking about food or something. What is that? Hold on. It is just a little bigger here. Okay, there we go. Pete's Vlogs is in there. Pete Ferrero is in there. Ferrero, let's say it slower. Let's see. David's in there. What's going on, David? Adam's in there. Oh, I love it when this thing jumps. It's awesome. I'm doing good there, Josh. You said, hey, Chris, how are you, mate? I'm doing good. Good to see you in there. I'm doing fine. I hope you're doing good as well. Horst Slemmer's in there. Says, hello. What's going on? Let me see here. See if this thing doesn't jump on me again here. All right. Let me see. That should be a little bit better. David Clark, you're saying more volume. Should be about normal where I have it there. Should be fine. Should be a little bit louder now. Mark Wells in there. Says, evening all from the UK. Charles Anderson's in there. It says, hi, Chris. Martin Lucas is in there. Says, evening. MG Toe's in there. Claim document under. Okay. I really don't know the first two parts of that, but Maduka says learn how to create a live life claim document under CSS CPSG. Oops. Bobby Pentland's in there. Good evening to you, Bobby. How are you? Glenn Judd's in there. Timothy Robert at coming in L. See you from Italy. What's going on, Timothy? Yeah, Q is for truth. You said, I noticed the MSM is ramping up the UFO talk again lately. Absolutely. There they go again. Sean says, hiya all, UK here. Keep up the good work. I appreciate that, Sean. Do appreciate you. I have, Carl. You said, so you all probably heard about the Israeli and Space General. Yeah, we have on a couple of tabs. We're definitely going to be a part of the conversation tonight. And I'll need you guys' input because I'm just curious. So, to get your thoughts on that. Rock Hit says, big hi, Chris, from UK. What's going on there? Good to see you in there. Got a lot of folks here from the UK. It's good to have everybody around. Got Canada, UK, just basically all around the world, man. It's just awesome. Timothy says, we're doing good here in Italy. That's good, man. It's good to hear. Especially with all the BS going around, if you know what I mean. Let's see. Thank you, James Cragen. I appreciate you, as always. Appreciate your support. You said, Chris, man, that fantastic vid. Sarah Michael's work and research you gave us this week. It's without a doubt mind-blowing. Big respect to all involved. Appreciate you there, James. And as always, again, thank you for the support. Guys, I almost didn't make it in here because it was, what was it? I forgot exactly what time it was. Around 3, maybe a little sooner than that, a little earlier than that. It was probably around 2:30-ish. I said, let me go get something to eat. So had a sandwich in the refrigerator. I said, man, it's not as cold as it usually is. So you can already imagine what's going on there. So you got to love it, man. Fan takes a dump. Got to love it. It's, the same thing happened to my other refrigerator where compressor's working fine. Everything seems to be working fine, but then the fan goes dumb. So, and that's always a lot of fun, I don't know if you'll even be able to see that, but I'll try to put it up as close as I can. You can see the coil itself near the magnet is actually burnt up. So that's not a good thing, I want to see if this thing actually gets in there and shows it. But pretty crazy. I was just like, oh, you're kidding. So take it all apart, all that good stuff. And I said, well, unplugged it, of course. Unplugged all the wires off it, ground and all that other good stuff. But like I said, you can see that the coil closest to the actual magnets themselves and all that good stuff there is burnt. So what I did was I said, well, and here's the funny part first. Let me backtrack, because when I tried to turn it, it was almost like literally frozen, right? So when I took it out, must have had ice in it. So what happened was it burned up, it quit working, and any kind of moisture that was there, it just kind of, really made the fan stuck. So I was like, fantastic. So, yeah. So we got that out, and of course it'll be about almost a week before I get another new part. So what I'll do is, thankfully, I got a deep freezer already, so anything that was in the freezer goes in there, and we'll get some kind of little small, little dorm refrigerator for now. Just throw your milk or something you use every day, and then when I get the fan in, then there you go. And then I'll have a backup refrigerator, a little dorm kind of thing. But yeah, it's always a lot of fun. Gotta love it. So I was almost not gonna get on. I'm saying, well, ain't gonna do me any good because you ain't going to get it for another week. What's the point? So, yeah. So I'm here with all you fine folks. And I said, oh, yeah, we'll make it happen. So like I said, right after this, I'm going to just run down and get one of those smaller refrigerators. And there's nothing wrong with the refrigerator I got other than this fan taking a dump. So you got to love it. It's like just when you thought it was safe. Oh, yeah. Josh D says, we can repair it. Oh, yeah, we will. We definitely will. Claire Mead's in the house. What's going on there, Claire? Good to see you in there. Yeah, Pete Ferreira, you're right. The SN8 Starship had a good test launch, but a bad landing. Exploded. Yeah. Not good. I mean, a lot of people go, there were a bunch of flops and everything else. But here's the thing. This is what I don't get. It's like they understand. It's kind of like anything that's invented or trying to be improved upon, right? There's always something that's going to happen. You guys know that. Through science, you're going to have failures, and of course, you're going to have the bottom line is going to be, well, we finally done it, so great. So you'll have success. It's just a setback. I mean, don't get me wrong, you hate to see any kind of setback like that, but you know what I'm saying. But it's in the name of science. That happens, right? What's going on, the Equalizer? Good to see you in there. It's a good evening from Kosovo. Good to see you in there. Clerks in 93's in there. Transmissions says hello. Is that transmissions as in cars or transmissions as in communication? Just curious. Let's see. Let's see. What is going on here? Phone ringing here. So we'll just turn that down. Architect Nat, you said, why did the majority of the government choose to copy to the totalitarian state of China? Pure insanity? Or rank over? Okay, rank over, it's off my chest now. With the Mars. Yeah. You know how that goes. Let me see. Well, thank you, David. You said really excellent Antarctica video, Chris. Yeah, it is good, excellent work put together. Can't say enough about her research. You did great on that, and that's why I figured anybody who wants to download this, because I know a lot of you people. It's one thing to go to the site because you can see the site, right? There's no big deal. But when you can get a video that kind of scrolls, and I don't know if you guys have noticed from the last one, from the very first one I did, which wasn't the full version, to the full version, I actually made it bigger on the screen. So the pictures went right to the edge of the screen, and of course the words are bigger. I told people the simplest way to try to, watch it if you can on your phone, try to cast it onto your TV or watch it on something bigger. I mean, there's not a whole lot you can do. Somebody also said, too, that it was going too fast for us. You can slow it down. Just go right into the settings there on your screen, and it says speed right there. You can slow it down. The music will just slow down a little bit or speed up, depending on how fast some people are speed readers, right? So, yeah. Q is for truth, says, soft disclosure, limited Hangout stuff. Seems to be just distraction from either bigger coming. Oh, yeah, something bigger coming, rather. And, I agree. So what do you guys think about that Israeli kind of thing going on? Is that what that is? Hold on. I got two things here. Let's bring this down first. Yeah. So you get the former Israeli space security chief says extraterrestrials exist, and Trump knows about it. Now, do you guys think this is like a sleight of hand kind of thing going on where, hey, guys, look at right here. What's going on? Don't worry about this hand, which we slowly take your rights away and everything else. Do you think it's that, or do you think it's the real deal? Because keep in mind, this guy is not like some milkman. I mean, the guy's got credentials. So what do you guys thoughts on that? I'm just kind of curious before I give you mine. Blue Flash, what's going on there? He said, we need disclosure. Totally get you, man. Totally get you. Maybe he said, oh, no, Chris, that's awful. Yeah, it happens. Happened to my last one, too, so... Gotta love it. But you never know. 1 minute there, everything's working good, and then some, which is no big deal. I think eBay had them for like $22, and so it's like $31, whatever, because it's like $9, almost $10 for shipping. And they're heavy little fans. Of course, the blade isn't because it's plastic, but replace it's going to be no big deal. I can throw it together in no time and then fire it right back up. But it's just the idea. You guys, it's an inconvenience more than anything, especially going to wait a friggin' week. I even called somebody locally. They said, it'd be about a week, and it's like $80. I'm like, seriously? No, I'll go with this one here. So, but I still might buy one as a backup. It's good to have, You just never know. I don't remember exactly how to pronounce your name. I know Sarah, when she was on here, she did. I think she just probably Googled it, got your name. But he said, hey, Chris, the question was, hey, Chris, a lot of people think that the vaccine is to cause harm, not to help to people, and the whole story about COVID-19 is a fraud. What are your thoughts? I don't know. I mean, in some ways, they say it's going to help. And in some ways, I don't know about you guys. I've been hearing, and I don't know how true it is, but in the UK, where they already started giving it out and giving it to the public, I heard there's already side effects and things going on. You guys, there's a few of you guys from the UK. What is going on over there? Can you put your 2 cents into that? Is that true? And is people already having problems with it, or is that just hearsay? Because I'm just curious myself. Just D. I did that with my laptop. Fans installed a new one a few times. Now board gaming desktop. Yeah, sometimes you got to. Because, a laptop, you know how that is. It's so a lot smaller and intricate and, all this other crap. So sometimes you're better off with a PC, right? Sometimes it's just better. A lot more room to work in. And you can rip the thing apart and not worry about it. Marcel says, any scientists from Israel here? That would be interesting, wouldn't it? Richard Mortimer, what's going on? You said, morning, everyone. Good to see you there, Richard. Whoops, thing just jumped on me again. I agree with you, JD5503. You said, I hope more insiders around the world come out now with info. I totally get that, man. I agree with you. Stephen Mole, you said they had allergies. Okay, so it had nothing to do with that, the actual shot then, Sean, you said 2 nurses had side effects, no more than that. Interesting. See, that's why I like to hear it right from, the country itself, because sometimes, how things get twisted. It's like that little experiment when you're in the school class. Remember when you were younger, they go, okay, Billy jumped a fence and ran to the ice cream truck. By the end of the sentence, it's like, Billy was driving an ice cream truck and ran over a house. I mean, it's just something bizarre goes on. You know how that goes. So, it's good to hear, straight from there and see what's going on. Thank you, Bobby Penland. A lot of respect to you and support. Thank you very much. You guys are awesome. I like the little Japanese little, what is that, a little cat or dog or something? Or fox or something. That's cute. But I do appreciate your support. You guys are awesome. It's just like, I said myself, and I told you guys I was honest. I said, listen, I'm not going to bother with it. You're not going to be forced to unless, of course, you're in healthcare and stuff like that. They did say anybody who's like on basically the front defense kind of thing, or, people like that worked in like, right down to the grocery stores and stuff like that, where they were needed when the time when had closed up, when everything was shut down and everything. I was like, yeah, I'm good. And I know for a fact I had it before. In fact, I went to the doctor's today for the old annual, if you will. So that was a lot of fun. But yeah, so, you got to get checked out. You got to get this stuff done. And the idea is, it's like, as far as the shots and the all that stuff, I'm just not a big fan of it. That's just me, though. I'm not speaking for everybody else. If you feel you should get it, you should. Just to be on the safe side. I just don't know enough about it. And a lot of people are like, well, I'll wait to see what happens in the UK. And it's like, well, either way, it's not a good thing. They're just trying to get this stuff out. And to me, it just seems like it might be just a little premature getting this stuff out, because they're just like, well, we can't use anybody's guinea pigs. Just give it out, and we'll see what happens. It's like, And I believe there's only 2 different ones, right? One's from Pfizer, and the other one is from, and I don't remember the other name. Maybe you guys remember. I don't know if that's Filksy. Hi, Chris, everyone. Not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. Forgive me if I'm not. James Craig said, Bobby Penland rocks. Well, so don't you, James. Don't forget that. Everybody rocks here. It's just awesome. Okay, Boris Johnson. Oh, wait a minute. Alien Tanner, you said Pfizer asked Boris Johnson to exclude them from being sued if the vaccine screwed people over. He gave it to them. See, that's what I'm saying. It's kind of like, we'll give it to you, but, our hands are washed, man. We're out. You can't be doing that. That's just wrong. So do you take it on that, hoping that, everything will be just fine? I don't know, man. Dave Havery, what's going on? Good to see you there this evening. He said, people with allergies linked to vaccines have been advised not to take Pfizer or other vaccines will be better. See, that's what I'm saying. It shouldn't it be like the same thing if it's killing in the same way? But they have their differences. And they even said you got to take 2 shots. Now, I don't know how it is in the UK. I'm sure it's the same. And they said you can't mix them. So in other words, if you take Pfizer, you can't take the other one on the second shot. They got to be Pfizer, and then the other one. So you can't mix them up. So clearly their vaccines are slightly different with the same outcome. Any thoughts on that? I just find it interesting. Maduka, you said, we doing fine in the UK. The public just needs to carry on being cautious, yeah. And I agree. I mean, people need to do that. I mean, some people will say, I don't need to wear that. But to me, I still wear it. I hate wearing it. But like I said, if it helps 20%, then it's helping. You know, I'm not going to be selfish about it and say, screw that, I'm not wearing it. When I'm home, obviously, nobody cares, right? Because you're home, and you're not going to spread it throughout anywhere. Unless, of course, you give it to your family, which is not a good thing. But, just clean your hands, just practice, sanitizing the hands and all that good stuff. And, yeah, at the end of the day, take your clothes off and burn it. No, I'm kidding. But you can put it in the laundry and stuff like that and get it done, Oops. This thing. Friggin' page. I love this chat room. Let me just scroll down just very slowly and it just disappears, like one. Oh, Mike Knapp's in the house. What's going on, Knapp? Mr. Knapp? Mimi Rack says disclosure will happen by drip feeding us information. Yeah, I mean, now if this is true, what we're seeing here on the screen, a galactic federation has been waiting for humans to reach a stage where we will understand what space and spaceships are. Hayam Ashid, or Ashid, it says Ashid, but they say Ashid, said. So, to me, it's like, if this is the real deal, and it seems kind of weird that he'd come out with this and it'd be a farce, having the credentials he has. And so it makes you wonder. It's like, I'm on the fence about that. I don't know if you guys are on the fence, but you go, yeah, that's absolutely true or not. I mean, here's another one here. Aliens exist on Mars. And Trump knows about it, claims Israel's former space chief, there are aliens on Mars, and Israel and the United States have been dealing with aliens for years, says Israel's former space security chief. Is that true? I don't know. You know what I mean? It's like you're just reading this, and it's pretty cool how they explain it. And they're saying, people couldn't basically handle it. Now, we've been talking about that for quite a while, haven't we? We talk about, how are we ready? Or a few of the aliens, and you approach this planet and observed our TV transmissions, our radio, or just seen video, because like I said, TV transmission, you can see the wars going on. Or you're just taking a closer look at the planet. Maybe you're just like in a cloak kind of thing. You can get real close to areas and see the warring going on. Would you want to accept us into the galactic federation, so to speak, or the galactic, party, if you will? Would you want to do that? Yes or no, guys? I mean, to me, I'd be like, I'm good. I'm out, guys. Deuces, I'm out. So that's the way I look at it. I would not even attempt to, unless I could talk to the leaders and say, obviously, we'll come back when you guys have basically stopped being Neanderthals, and that you will, because then we can explain it to you and you won't freak out and want to kill us. So, yeah. But what are your thoughts on that? Do you think that's the truth? Do you mean, do you think they're BSing us, or is it something much bigger going on, or is it just a cover-up for something else? Richard Mortimer said, yes, have to take drips of info from Israel with a big dose of salt. Their motives are complex, and I don't think former has any bearing. Well, yeah, and that's the thing. You know what I mean? See, I didn't know at the time if he was at the former, because when they first mentioned it, I don't think I heard the word former at first, but I mean, it's just like Minister, I think it was Minister Paul Hellyer. He was, I think, part of defense as well. Now, I believe a lot of stuff that he says, and I believe that is true. So this is the second man who's come out with this, saying basically aliens do exist. I think even Mr. Paul Hellyer gets into talking about, different types of aliens, reptilians and stuff like that. And they claim that. So these guys are on the high ups and stuff like that. Why would they even bother coming out with this stuff? Like, hey, I'm just going to perpetrate this hoax because these guys were, you can see that these people are older people. And to start bringing that up now, again, that's why I'm kind of teetering. Is it to cover something much larger up, or is it because of it is the real deal? That's what I'm curious, Rock Hit says, would Trump say, or would he be blocked by high rankers? See, I don't know. I mean, because to me, like I said, the president is nothing more than a puppet, right? And the military and the top dogs of the world, we're going to say, is that they're the one pulling all the strings and telling people what to say. So I don't know. I mean, because we can't see this and check this out for ourselves, there's really no way of knowing. And a lot of times it turns into speculation, and we hate to do that, but you don't know that, right? So is it true? I don't know. Oops. Blue Flash, you said the pandemic was created to stop disclosure. Well, I mean, we've always had slow disclosure, though, right? I mean, so to me, it was just like a bump in the road, right? Because anybody who's into this disclosure movement anyway is just like not going to be swayed by that. At least I won't. I mean, it is something that will distract you, but I don't think that, that's going to stop me. You know what I mean? I think you guys will agree. It's like, I don't think so. Oh, but the rapper says, Pierre Boilever. I'm not familiar with Pierre. Maybe I am. It's not registering. But if you get more and more of these people who are, like, here we go, astronauts, what do they talk about? We've got, like I said, Minister Paul Hellyer. You got this former Israeli space. These guys were all former security of, defense and stuff like that. So are they all lying? Or is it they're just saying, listen, I've done, I was in the, I had my position, I'm out, I'm up there in age, I don't care now. And they're just going to spread it. I don't know. Because, there's always some kind of weird motive behind that. So, that's why I'm asking you guys what you guys think, Thank you again, Mr. James Gregan, for your support. You're awesome. He said, Chris, you asked about Israeli chief. Oops, it just jumped on me again. I'm trying to go down the screen, and this thing just took off. Well, I wouldn't trust any Israeli ex or still employed agent of Israel ever. Man, I think you do. Yeah, I mean, I do. I really do. I don't know. But a lot of these guys come out and say that of certain things, like, aliens have been here with us thousands of years, stuff like that. And it kind of fits in what we've actually researched. So it would not surprise me. And again, if we go back to the Antarctic here on Earth, here we go. Again, I've said this before. If it was, let's say, pyramids, and I believe there are pyramids there too, from these pictures. But let's suppose, it's just pyramids and other brick structures like we have all the way around the world, right? We have these large megalithic stone structures. Okay, they come right out and tell us, oh, by the way, another part of the Mayans, have been found in the jungles. More stuff that was, they took radar, ground-penetrating radar, and looked, with LIDAR and all these other good stuff, and they found more stuff buried in the Giza Plateau. So on and so forth. They're using this regular radar over these areas, like in front of the Sphinx, and found there's a huge tunnel. So why would they not just say about Antarctica, yeah, by the way, before the ice came along, before the Ice Age, guess what happened? Look, there was actually people living there, which why wouldn't they? It makes perfect sense. So the only thing I can see or say is that it wasn't made by us. Or it was way back in the day in our first cycle of life here on Earth as far as civilized man. And that, they're trying to hide that fact because think about it. Well, we're so technologically advanced right now. Or were we? Were we more advanced back then than we are today? Or was it designed and made by somebody else? And I think that's what the big thing is. Now, I remember Sarah saying that she disagreed because somebody said something about Buzz Aldrin and that how when he was up there, and she said that, no, there was really no connection with that. He just had some, a heart problem, stuff like that. But I actually believe that's what happened. He went up there, checked it out. They know he can keep his mouth shut as far as like what was on the moon and everything, so we can trust him. Goes up there, sees some crazy stuff. Maybe that's what set off this heart attack or this problem with his heart, right? So I don't know. He probably went down there and seen this stuff for himself and was like, oh, what is going on here? I don't know. Your thoughts on that, guys? Seeking Truth says, I always thought that maybe we came from Mars and started new life on Earth. Maybe something happened to the planet and the human race had to bail quickly. Well, let me throw this on you. And of course, pure speculation. How do we know at the time that this did happen, Seeking Truth, and that when we came from Mars, we built in the Antarctic? At the time, there was no ice. It was nice and green, lush land, and everything was great. They built there, and that's why it's high-tech stuff and not what you'd find in the Mayans and stuff like that. It's something much larger and more high technologically advanced. Is that a case? Is that is maybe that's true? I don't know. What are you guys' thoughts on that? Yes, and anybody who hasn't given a thumbs up, please do so. Just wham, hit that bad whammer jammer right now. It is. We got 145 watching. It's like 76 thumbs up. Go ahead and slam it for me, guys. Let's see. Archetype Matt, you said, hey, remember that in the War of the Worlds, it was the microbes that got the Martians in the end. Yeah, something that our body's used to all the time, we get all the time. Yeah, it's like it doesn't bother us. Our bodies evolved to, it doesn't even phase us. But something new that came here would not be used to our atmosphere, and all the microbials and diseases and everything that may be in our atmosphere, they can't handle it. So right off the bat, what do? Can't handle it. Dave Avery said, vaccine is ready in record time. Aliens have assisted? I don't know if I'd go that far. Is it slightly possible? I guess. But, to me, it's like, it's a possibility. Like, like the reverse we've been talking about. If there was aliens, would they attack us and take this planet? Well, probably not, because they could have done this a long time ago. Now, is it a slight chance that they came here and, they're helping us out and, hey, this is something for you? I don't know. That's a little far-fetched for me, but in this world, hell, anything's possible now. Because at one time, when you were in high school, guys, think about this. When you were in high school, think about all the things you've learned lately over the past X amount of years, right? And then think back in school. You're just going, oh, my God, that was complete trash. It was so basic. Now, I'm not blaming anybody for this basic information because as time went by, we got these archaeologists on digging, so on and so forth, dating this stuff. Carbon dating, all different kinds of dating. These ruins and stuff like that. So it takes us back. Okay, now we go back thousands of years. Now it's almost like a million years. So on and so forth. We're going back. We're constantly learning something new. Science is the same way. So, but if you were to go back to when you were in high school years and you learned about all this, you're just going, oh my God, what I learned in high school was trash when it came to this stuff. They did, David R. You said, did Ronald Reagan say something in the speech like, are they not already among us? Yeah, they was talking about a threat. If we had a threat outside our world, would we not come together and, obviously fight for our human race? And then he said, are they not already among us? Now, some people interpret that as, well, they're talking about like terrorists. You know what I mean? And I'm not so sure that was the reason. I think because when he said outside our world, clearly that's not a homegrown terrorist, right? This is clearly somewhere else. So, yeah. 357 Robbie, it's been a while since I've seen you, man. Hell, he said, I have pneumonia, LOL. They treated me like I had the Ebola. My son, who was department director for 911, a volunteer firefighter, I'm sorry, and a constable, he tested positive for COVID while I tested negative. Strange. Well, I want to thank him for, being a firefighter and everything else and the work that he does. And, actually, the both of you do. So much appreciate. Yeah, but, that's what happens. Sometimes you can be a carrier. You know what I mean? You can actually be a carrier and just give it to everybody else and never have one symptom, which is really crazy. But that's why they're saying people get tested, right? And I'm good. But that's just me. Like I said, I know for a fact I had it. Because everything they claimed that it was, I had. So, yeah. Let's see. Orbit the Rapper says, should we accept the vaccines, especially the one created by China organization Casino Bio? I wouldn't accept anything from China, to be honest with you, because why are we in this rut to begin with? But, that's your call on that, as far as, like, you said, should we accept the vaccines? As far as getting it, whatever one it is, that's your, whatever you guys want to do, that's up to you. Like I said, you already know my stance on it, only because it has come out too fast, and you don't know what this is, man. It's a cocktail of what? They can break it down for you, but do you really know? So unless you have your own microscope and know what every little, everything that's in that vaccine, and you know how you can say what it is, there's no way of knowing this. So, yeah, you're basically in the dark, and they can just put anything into your bloodstream, and you'd never know it. Now, again, that might be just me, and it's just pure speculative, because I don't know. But, when it's come out this fast, and I'll tell you why, in a sense, why it's come out so fast. Think about it. It's all about them Benjamins, guys. That's what it's all about. Think about it. If I come out with a vaccine quicker, everybody's going to be on board with me first, and I'm going to make millions off of this upon millions of dollars. That's why they're doing this. It's kind of like, it almost seems like it's the same people who put out these, whatever flu viruses and SARS and all this other stuff is the same people that come out with the vaccines. Kind of like I said before, people who make radar detectors is, for your cars, the same one that have radar guns. They're playing both sides of the field. Now, I'm not saying Pfizer is part of that, but it's just weird how that works. Like they're almost hand in hand, right? Somebody's out there to make big cash. And that's what it comes down to. And it's weird how that works, but it is. Paradigm Theory says, we need disclosure. Some think Trump will acknowledge it before he's out of office. I'm all for that. Yeah, I would love to see that. I really would. Now, is it going to happen? I don't think I'm going to hold my breath, but he may just do that. That would be interesting. Kind of like just say a last hurrah, seeing he's out. And that would be pretty interesting. That would be cool to see that. I'd love to see it. Let's see. Let me move this over here. It'll be easier. Sean, it said Prince Charles has seen a UFO. He said so. Well, he said it himself. Well, yeah, provided, a UFO could be anything, right? Meaning it's unidentified. So I don't know if he means it in the aspect like, well, it kind of looks like a plane, but it's not. It's so high up I can't tell. That would be unidentified because you can't really identify it. So I don't know if it was an actual UFO. I haven't heard that story, but but if he actually did, that's interesting. It's pretty cool. See, this thing's jumped on me again. Okay, there we go. Oops. Ian, you said confirm that there were people in America 130,000 years ago. Plenty of time for advanced civilization to rise and be destroyed. Oh, absolutely. So the question would be, did something else destroy them or did they destroy themselves? Now, she gave a timeline of 96,000 years plus. So anywhere between 96,000 and 150,000. So it kind of makes sense. Think about that. And we don't even know. Like I said, this area is covered with ice. Now it's all starting to dissipate in some areas. So to me, I don't know why this thing's talking, but anyway. So to me, it just seems like, there was life there. There was, structures being built and everything over in Antarctica. Why is it any different from any other continent or piece of land here on Earth? It shouldn't change, especially if this was before a pole shift and the Antarctica was in a totally different area, right? Maybe it was closer to the equatorial region at one time. How do we know? We don't. They can go back and, scientists will say X amount, whatever. But are they getting the right information? Because have they even seen everything in Antarctica at the time? And have they carbon dated or any kind of dating? So, you know what I mean? A whole lot of things come into play here. We don't know. Oh, I didn't know that, Nacho. Good to see you in there, by the way. He said, I crap you not. Prince Charles is a huge UFO nutter and has so much material you won't ever believe it. I didn't know that. Interesting. You're right there, Elaine. You said if you don't think profit comes before healthcare, search on DuckDuckGo for CEO Farmer. Says in business to make profit and not curing people. I saw it on TV as he said it. That's what it's all about. And here's the thing, like I said, when it comes to like things like cancers, these viruses and stuff that kill people, it's all about, population control. And it's all about Big Pharma making this money. That's all it's ever been about, Again, they got the cure for cancer, but, give to the Cancer Foundation. We're trying to find out what this is. We're trying to beat this. Oh, come on. You know as well as I do, guys, they got the cure for this. But so many thousands upon thousands of people die every year from this. Oh, that's good. Now, I said this before. What if nobody died only about old age? So in other words, I said a lot of people dying early. Well, let's say the average is anywhere between 75 and 100 years old. How many people would be on this planet? My God, it would be insane. So that's what I think is happening. Jerry Lahane says Trump probably has little care for space aliens or science in general. Well, I mean, if you're made privy of it and you can, you've seen it or read into it because, you got the power to do that. The question would be, would he come out with it? And so that's the big thing, right? Love to be able to see that, but yeah. Let me see. 6, what's going on? You said, my mom told me years ago, school is there to teach us how to learn. So like in general, when we learn the who, what, where, when, and why of things, we got it made. Yeah, I mean, I never was a big thing into, my biggest classes were in school. It was science and math. That was the 2 biggest things in there. Everything else I could care less about. I really could, because to me, it's like, anything ancient history was awesome. And, I paid attention to that stuff. Anything else, I was like, whatever. Meh. Because science is always evolving. History, there'll always be something found. So on and so forth. Bush Corey, what's going on? So Prince Charles could pick up UFO up with his ears. Oh, man, not good. Let's see. Charlene Sampson, what's going on? He said, absolutely, Chris. It's all about depopulation. And I strongly believe that. And this is not recently said. This is going way back. In fact, even Dick Cheney, Mr. Dick himself, he said that himself he wants to cut it down. So, and you're talking about like 80%. It's like, so we'll start with your family and everybody who's related to you. I mean, think about it. I mean, you don't just do that to people. What's wrong with you? Oh, okay, Sean. You said when Prince Charles said this, a UFO was, it was a UFO. It was during a flight. Okay, cool. Yeah, it can be, Dave. David, you said money is a disease. Well, it makes people fight, that's for sure. Jerry Lahane, you said, I live in Delaware, 20 miles from Biden. I don't know if that's a good thing or bad thing, but yeah. Let's see. Timekeepers Media says theories are coming up now that first we were hit by a comet or outer space impact that bring the younger dryas, and then came solar outbursts that melted all the ice. That could very well be, but I mean, we go through these changes anyway, right? We go into different ice ages. I think it's just basically a cycle of Earth because we do have our poles, they flip anyway every so many years. So to me, it just makes sense that it would do that. I don't know. To me, it just seems like, at one time, I mean, there was a lot of areas that, like a perfect example. There was a large body of water right there in the Giza Plateau. And they could tell by the Sphinx and the wear and tear on the actual Sphinx. But they also believe that the Sphinx was there before the pyramids, because you don't see that on the pyramids itself. You always see the water erosion and the levels on the actual Sphinx. So think about that a minute. So, and even if it did, they still think it goes back much longer than it's like predated long before they, whatever date they're throwing out now. I think it was like 7,000 years or whatever it was. And it's much older than that. So, again, learning something new all the time. GSS 1123 says, the question was, have you ever done an analysis on the 1878 San Francisco panorama? There's a lot going on there considering it was supposed to be a gold mining town. No, I never have. You got to drop a link somewhere we can actually check that out. Love to check it out. I think I remember seeing a wide panorama of several of those. I don't know if that's one of them. But, yeah, I'd still like to have a closer look. That'd be interesting. Let's go ahead and shut the notifications off to this. That's better. Billy Davidson, you said there are some time-lapse videos done on how fast a city such as New York could deteriorate over time if civilization just up and left. It's quite amazing how fast it disappears, nothing left. Yeah, I mean, it's like I forget what it's called now. It was on the History Channel. Well, it's on actual several channels, but it's like The World Without Man or something along them lines. You guys will be able to tell me. But, yeah, it's kind of like they'll go back like, a week and then 10 years and then 100 years and 1,000 years. Everything just kind of falls apart and everything else and becomes part of the ground. Nature takes over, right? Elaine Millard, you said, also learn about some big corruption and cover-ups. Watch the films Under Our Skin. That is pretty bizarre, yeah. Pretty cool stuff. I know what you're talking about, too. Part 1 and 2, Part 2, no typo, Part, it has subtitles, about Lyme disease that can be misdiagnosed as 300-plus other ills. Yeah. Like I said, it's almost like you get to know your body really well, because it's like going into your mechanic and saying, I've got a problem with my car, can you fix it? They're going to look at you, could you narrow that down a bit? I mean, we're talking bumper to bumper here. You're hearing banging going on. Is it hesitating? What seems to be the problem? So this way you can narrow down so they can get a better idea and diagnose the situation. Well, it's the same thing, right? So, and the body's no different. So, yeah. You can go in there and say, well, doc, I have this, and next thing you know, you're getting medication for something totally different. So that's why you got to really truly know yourself and really be very descriptive about, when you go to the doctors, what is actually wrong. So, yeah. Mimi Rack says, I thought about something. If Earth was a different part of the universe, it would make sense we were visited by aliens too frequently. Now we are too far away from them to visit us, and that could very well be. Maybe a bunch of them jumped onto our planet. Oh, wow, this is pretty good. Or they jumped onto Mars at the time. Who knows? Because, again, the sun was different back then. We're talking about 65 million years ago and much longer, right? So we don't know if Mars had life before us, meaning actual real life, civilization, rather. So we don't know. And it does. It has a lot of these pieces you got to try to put together. But, yeah. It's just awesome to think about it. You're trying to, if you get now we have Antarctica, right? We had the moon. We have Mars. We have, different moons in our solar system. And everywhere we're trying to go, it's just really bizarre because you're going, okay, I'm getting a little information from Mars, getting a little information from the moon. And I said that's where it all started. But then you look at the crazy stuff that's built here on Earth, and you go, okay, were we much smarter back in the day, thousands upon thousands of years ago? Very good possibility, and it's really starting to look that way. Like Praveen does. Praveen Mohan, I think his name is. I was going to say Mohan, but I think it's Mohan. Really interesting how he breaks down his videos where he shows where it looks like, is it possible these ancient people could have built with like little hammers and chisels, and you see some of the intricate stuff built there, like Angkor Wats and things like that. And just crazy, crazy things where they show like there's dinosaurs walking along. They describe these things like a stegosaurus and all of these weird, like brontosauruses and all kinds of crazy stuff. How did man build this? This was long before man. Well, clearly there wasn't before man. They coexisted somehow. So it's like everything that you learned about science and history, you throw right out the window, because now it's time to really learn. Josh D says, if we combine Sarah's work on Antarctica and yours, Jean's, Jimmy's on Mars and the Moon, combined with the work of, say, Dolan and Billy C., or a solar civilization seems to have existed for sure. Yeah, I mean, there's just so many pieces to this puzzle. Now, some people just don't put them together. But if you've been doing your own research, then you already know this. Like me, I've known this for years. I mean, like I said, I could die tomorrow and know everything that's going on as far as like, I'm satisfied with the research that I've done, that I know we are part of something much larger. And that's just awesome. So even if you should pass on, it doesn't mean you're just simple compost. I think your energy and you go back out there. Now, where could be too, like I think it was Julia that said you graduate to like another world. Wouldn't that be wild? It's like, okay, you've lived here, we see what kind of person you'd become, and then you can graduate to another planet. So would that be heaven? And then there's a hell? Think about that. Maybe it's just the way it's interpreted. I don't know. Andrew Haberman, what's going on? You said, I've seen those dino pics. Absolutely, brother. And when you see these things, you go, how do they know these were there? If man didn't exist while the dinosaurs were around. Now, clearly they said we were hunters and gatherers at the time, but they also claimed that we weren't around when dinosaurs were. It was just like saber-toothed tigers and, other things like that, like mastodons and, all kinds of stuff like that. So, you say, okay, but there's literally carvings of these dinosaurs in these ancient civilizations on their walls and stuff. So, yeah, it goes against what we've been taught. It's as simple as that. Thank you, Dennis. You said life after people. That's exactly what I was looking for. And that was an interesting show. A lot of cool stuff. And it's true. I mean, just look at a house that might be in your neighborhood or somewhere you've seen online where it was like pristine, look good. All of a sudden now, nobody lives there. It's grass starts to grow between the driveway blocks, meaning the concrete platforms, and it's all over the house now, and creeping vines, and just all kinds of crazy stuff, right? Billy Davidson, thank you very much for your support. Much respect to you. Thanks for all you do, Chris. Good vibrations, man. Well, thank you very much. And again, thank you for your support. You're awesome. So, I mean, like I said, guys, the more I see this, and I think I'm going to be doing more investigation, too, into different parts, or break down these photos a little bit better, too. We're definitely going to get back into Mars, of course. But I'm going to break down a little bit more into the Antarctica, because I believe there's much more in there that we could really break down. And again, just seeing these things and how here's the thing, more than anything, they blocked it out. Like I said, the people who took the photos of that were actually working for NASA. So it's of no surprise that they literally tried to take that stuff out. You can find it with ease, and when you raw plate that stuff, you can see that it has been manipulated and obfuscated. So clearly they're censoring the photos there. Again, question is why? These are raw photos. There's nothing there to see, right? It's just mountains and ice and, that's it. That's all there is to it. And why are we seeing this? Why are we seeing this obfuscation? And like I said in the beginning, in the photo, I showed you guys where the mountains and stuff that were closest were pretty darn good quality. Go back to there, it's complete crap, if you will. So, yeah. Oh, thank you, GSS1123, and appreciate your support, brother. And thank you for the link. There's the link right there. I don't know if we can actually grab that. Let me see if we can. Let me see here. We can do that. I'm going to drop it down here. If that'll fit in there, it should. I don't know if that's going to work. We're going to see what happens. Somebody click on that link right there. I just dropped. And see if that comes up to that, because I don't know, to be truthful. I just basically just went over that. Just copied it. Again, gentlemen, thank you for your support. I'm assuming you're gentlemen. Please don't kill me if you are. If you're not GSS, I assume you are. But you know how to do when you assume. Jerry Lahane, you said AIDS was manufactured by military from MD, a military camp. Nothing would surprise me. A lot of these things, they claim that, somehow it got out of the laboratory or something like that. First of all, COVID, SARS, all that stuff. Come on, guys. You know as well as I do. This stuff it's a bioweapon. It has been. And listen, you don't even have to literally go out and hit people with warheads anymore. Just spread the stuff throughout. I can pay somebody, here's a briefcase, whatever, fly it to another country, let it go in some subway or some stadium or something like that. And it just spreads like wildfire throughout the world. And all they got to do is just go to designated spots, or who knows, they could drop it from the air. Give it to these people who lay down these chemtrails. Oh, just go ahead and put it in there and put a nice little cocktail in there. Drop it from the skies. Next thing you know, boom. Suddenly everybody doesn't know why they got this nasty cold, as they thought, or some kind of flu. And now it's worldwide pandemic. So there you go. It's crazy. Louis Longbeard, thank you very much, sir, for your support. As always, he said, Chris, did you see the SpaceX launch the other day? What year are we going to Mars? I don't know. I thought it was supposed to be 2030 or 2035. Guys, what do you guys remember now? Has it changed? It's supposed to be 20... Yeah, I mean, he wants to get there a lot sooner, don't get me wrong. Because I believe it's the moon they want to get there in 2025, unless I got my dates messed up. What do you guys think? So you guys can drop your thoughts on that. And again, Louis, thank you very much, man. I appreciate you. Mr. CBXO, he said, hello from Scotland. Amazing video about Antarctica. You could clearly see that skyscraper at the distance. Many thanks, Chris. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Again, this is done by my good friend Sarah, and she had done a lot of this. And believe it or not, guys, I was just literally going over that photo. I'm just kind of looking before I'd done anything. Before I threw these photos, even in the raw, to check the raw plating of them. And I'm looking at that thing in the back, and I said, and I'm glad a lot of you guys noticed it too. When you see that skyscraper, it looks like there's a little orb next to it. And I did say that. And when you see it, they go, what could that possibly be? Clearly, it's not a mountain. It's, because a mountain, we know what a mountain looks like. Even if it's a very small mountain, we know what it looks like. It doesn't do that. Clearly, that's something off in the distance. They were hoping nobody'd notice. So it was fantastic research that she had done. And I'm glad, and that's the reason why I made the full length or version of this. So you guys can, like on my other computer, I can go to any video and just click on it. It says download. So there's an attachment you can put on your... there's an attachment you can get that you can actually do that. Now, you can just take any video, download it. I think there's actually a few of them you can do that with. And take it. Save it for your archives, guys, because you don't know. In fact, I'm not sure, 100% sure, but I know she said she was supposed to keep it up till 2025, but there's one of the sites, and I don't know if it's hers, that was being sold. So it will not be on there that long, but we have it now. Even if they were to take it down, I have it backed up on a external hard drive, which is not even hooked up to my computer, and so it's safe. So it's not just going to disappear. Let's put it that way. Charlene Sampson, thank you very much. I appreciate you. Much love to you. You said you are awesome, Chris. Keep up the great work. I do appreciate the fine words. Thank you very much. And a good word. You are awesome. I like that. Awesome. Angel dude and an alien. Awesome. Let me see. I hate when this thing jumps. Jerry Lahane, you said, Sarah, the Antarctica, huge project, well done. Very well put together. I've known people like Linda Moulton Howe. Several other people have done work on that. And I got to be truthful with you. A lot of it is, you guys got to admit, a lot of it's, over embellished. And it always seems to be something new coming out. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like, well, we've already put the information out. I've already made money on that book. But now I'm going to bring out more information so I can keep making money on it. So, we could do the same thing. We can keep dragging it. Why do that? The whole thing is right there for everybody to see. The site's there. You guys get the link. And of course, on the latest video I did, I made sure you had the link in the pinned post in the top of the comment section. So you can go right to her site and see it all for yourself. If you want to screenshot anything, take it, do what you got to do. So it is there for everybody to see. And then I put that video up so you can grab that. Put it on a hard drive, a thumb drive, whatever it is. Of course, it's got to be big enough. But then you have it. Maybe your grandkids, your kids, whatever. Education is everything, you know what I mean? And that's something they won't learn in history class. I almost promise you they won't. GSS 1123 said, there is no one in the photo. The scale of the buildings and cathedrals are mind-bending when considering it was the time of horses and buggies. Just such a weird photo. Yeah, I mean, I know what you're saying. Now, I don't think I've seen the one that you have. I'm not sure. I haven't seen it yet. But really interesting when you say that because, yeah, like you said, I mean, don't get me wrong. They had tools back then. But they say the same thing about, like, the pyramids of Giza, right? Oh, they got these brass chisels with these hammers. Oh, okay. Yeah, sure. But they did claim that they had a saw, and a very large one at that. and that with enough manpower, you could move these things. Of course, you can use logs underneath them and use them and pull it along like it's wheels and stuff like that. Yeah, I get all that. But even to this day, as much as that thing can settle, you still cannot slip a razor blade between them in the chambers where these large megalithic blocks are found. You just can't do it. That's just that's absurd. It's just crazy. Even the burial chambers, so to speak. Look at the size of those. Well, if you want to call them like a stone casket, if you will. But it's just funny how big these things are, and people are standing right next to it. They're absolutely humongous. Now, don't get me wrong. Back in the day, they built it for you, and of course, if you were anything like a pharaoh or anything like that, it was extra large. But they also put all your belongings with you too, so it kind of makes sense. But yeah, I mean, just the size of these structures back in the day, man, these people were insane. And a lot of those, like you're saying about these cathedrals and stuff, very well crafted, very well put together. Now, man can do that. I mean, we're not dummies, right? But if you go back thousands of pounds, wait a minute. I thought we were Neanderthals back then. I thought we were just like pulling our hair out. And I mean, suddenly we're like these brilliant minds back 96,000 plus years ago. Something doesn't jive, guys. And it makes absolute sense because, like I said, according to the ancients, we're now in the 5th cycle. So what about the 1st cycle when we were here? Did we, were we more advanced than we are now? Or equivalent? Or did we have life on Mars? And then when we came here, that was where we first settled. All pure speculation, guys. You know that. Because there's no way for us to prove it or vet it. So, but it makes you think. Okay. And if it's not the case, then where did these structures come from? 96,000 years ago. Maybe it's something we built. Maybe it's something somebody else built. Be wild to know. All right, Stig, thanks for being here, man. You said I gotta go. Have to be up early. Stay safe and well, everyone. And thanks, Chris. Keep up the good work. Thank you, Stig. Appreciate you. Have yourself a good weekend. By the way, guys, I will not be on. At this point, it doesn't look like I'll be on next Friday because I'm on vacation this whole week. So I'm going to be getting a lot of things done. And but I mean, if something comes up and like I got an extra time, then I'll just you guys can just always check back on a Friday at 5 anyway. But at this moment, I will not be on because I got a lot of things I need to do. I just want to give you guys a heads up so nobody's going, oh, what happened? I thought, man, he just ditched us. No, that's not my intention. I promise. I just want to let you guys know that may be the case, and I will not be on next Friday. Now, if I get everything done, yeah, just check back Friday at 5 p.m. And if I'm on, great, we'll just rock it. You know what I'm saying? So just want to give you guys a heads up, and Stig, of course, before you leave. So anyway, have a good weekend, then, Stig. All right, let's see. Josh D says, I really love you all. This hangout is as good as orgasms and not better. It keeps getting longer. That would be good. Longer ones. Oh, we're still talking about the actual hangouts? James Cameron, you said, hi, Chris. Do you know if they've released to the public that recent photo of the triangular UFO they supposedly have a picture of coming out of the ocean? Thanks in advance. I don't know that they have. Anybody else can confirm or non-confirm? I don't know. Truthfully, I don't. Yeah, Pete, a lot of these world leaders, like I said, Buzz went there. You said world leaders went to Antarctica for a reason. Yeah, because think about it. And if they are the elites, we'll call them, or higher, or whatever, and they're going there to see this stuff. And I said this in a video where I said, if you look at that video, now people were saying that rocky range where it looks like everything's symmetrical, they said that wasn't even Antarctica. Some people said, no, I think it was from Russia. I really don't care where it's from, to be truthful, because to me, now, I put it in Antarctica because it was on an Antarctica photo, right? And I thought it'd be something, like a little bonus in the beginning to show everybody. But it has nothing to do with Sarah's work, just to make that clear. But regardless, if that was made up, then bogus. But I mean, as far as like if that is real, I don't care where it's at. That's pretty interesting. But some people said, yeah, I did this kind of a hoax thing. They kind of put that together. But it's kind of wild because they're just literally going over this thing with a helicopter. And, so to be able to do that, it's pretty interesting. So I don't know how much of a hoax that is. But regardless, if it's not, that's interesting to be able to do that. Thank you, Dave. Dave, I keep wanting to say David. I know it's David. If I'm even pronouncing it right, I apologize if I'm not. David R., thank you very much for your support. Brother, I appreciate you. You guys are just awesome, man. Any kind of support, it helps. I mean, I don't care if it's just, support here as far as I'm concerned, because we're supporting each other. We're all having good conversation. That, to me, in its simplest form, which is just awesome. And when you guys do these, I'm going to call them gifts, if you will, it's just awesome, because it does help the channel. So you guys rock. James Cameron, you said, I heard about on Joe Rogan, the Triangle one. He was investigating the director of Phenomenon. Okay. Now that movie Phenomenon, I think I've seen like bits and pieces. I don't think I even seen the whole thing. But some of it, people say it's like kind of ho-hum, kind of, in other words, it's nothing really special, but there are a couple things where they show like those bunch of kids in the schoolyard where they all see this. And different other things like that, which I find really interesting. Was this mass hallucination or was this real? You know what I mean? You got to believe that that's real. That's not fake. Architect Net, you said all tyrants use technology to oppress. That's a fact. Let's see. Yeah, Charlene, you said the Antarctica trip with the Pope and all of the global elites. What was that really about? Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. And funny enough, they've got, their observatory, as far as the Vatican and stuff like that. All of these people have, and it's just like, why are we suddenly investing into telescopes and all kinds of things? Why is the Pope going down there of all places? Why does it matter? It's an ice tundra. It's frozen ice and snow and winds that are like 300 miles an hour at times. Why are we going there again? Unless there's something there to see. And of course, they probably just keep their mouth shut. And of course, if you got some good amount of scratch, you can probably get down there and see it for yourself. Of course, you probably have a gag order. If not, they'll just cut your throat open and there's your gag order. But to me, it just seems like, listen, if you got filthy amounts of money and, you pay these people, well, they're willing to overlook it, just go down, we'll show you. That would be interesting to see that. That would be awesome. Can you imagine being filthy rich and say, listen, I'd love to go down there. I want to see what's really down there. You know what I mean? Wink, wink. Can you just go ahead and, we really can't do that. Yeah, but how about for a couple billion, or $1 million or whatever? Oh, sure, we'll take it. I mean, money talks, BS walks, right? Money is very strong, especially when people are desperate and need it. Josh D, you said James Fox, that makes Phenomenon, said this month a real big thing would be revealed. I am waiting, or it has to be a stunning pic of a triangular UFO. And that may very well be, right? Yeah, I'd be interested to see what happens, too. GSS 1123 is such a great group. Keep the love going. Check out the Howdy Makowski Talks YouTube channel. I think everyone here will appreciate his work. Never heard of it. I definitely have to check that out. Jerry Lane, you said Keith Laney makes my life better. Yeah, he being that he kind of worked for NASA anyway, and into these photos and stuff like that, puts great pans together. I've talked to Keith when we were live with I was with Will from What's Up in the Sky, and at the other time my buddy Thomas from United Federation of Family. I'm sorry, I'm thinking because I'm looking up here. I'm saying Federation, Galactic Federation, but United Family of Anomaly Hunters, and it's just cool to be on live with him because we were talking after the show. We were on Richard Hoagland's show. And so we were going back and forth. And then after that, he just kind of left it going. And we were just talking amongst ourselves. And very knowledgeable, which is good. And Keith, yeah, he knows his crap. That's for sure. James Cameron, he said, thanks for the tip on Phenomenon. I was going to rent it. LOL, maybe not. Well, I mean, you can rent it because it'd be cheaper because I think it's, what is it? How much is the movie itself? Was it $17? Something like that? $17 or $20? I forget what it was now. But I guess they're trying to make it pretty much affordable so everybody can see it. I don't know. Not sure. How you doing tonight? Or this evening, this night, morning? Colleen Barnes, thank you very much for your support. Thank you very much. So, hi, Chris and gang. Sorry I missed you last week, but here now. Happy Friday. Well, happy Friday to you, and thank you for your support. Always appreciated. Yeah, I mean, listen, when you miss a week, it's not a big deal. A lot of people, you got things to do. Life gets in the way. You know what I'm saying? I just found out one of my aunts had passed away today too. Very lovely woman, loved her to death. Basically, she's good people, stuff like that. Yeah, so another death. It just never failed. It wasn't because of COVID or anything like that, but because of age and stuff like that. And I think she was diabetic and stuff like that, which complicated a lot of things. But so yeah, I mean, gotta love 2020. It's just awesome. So hopefully next year will be much better. Let's see. Mr. Seven Digit says, asks, what's your opinion on the Silurian hypothesis and similar to what you find on Mars, how we go about detecting the presence of civilization hundreds of millions of years old? Well, we'd only be able to speculate, right? So it's kind of like what we find in the Martian photos. We say, okay, according to NASA, there hasn't been life on Mars for millions, I think billions of years, when it had a catastrophic event. So, okay, you go, okay, let's see. I don't see that because when I see the stuff that's on Mars, again, they have windstorms. They do have a water cycle and Gale crater. So you would think either the metals would rot away or be blown. A lot of this, think about it. You're like basically, if you got a lot of this dust flying around, you're basically in a sandblaster. Now, they say, even though they say because of the atmosphere, 300 mile an hour winds here could be about 60 miles an hour there. I don't care. If you get enough of that blowing throughout millions of years, you wouldn't have sharp corners to rocks. You sure in hell wouldn't have sharp anything on anything because at some point, whatever's on the surface, intelligently made or not, is going to get rounded off. Kind of like a stone in a river. I mean, at first it's jagged and everything else, but give it years upon years and it becomes smooth and it's like a nice round, smooth disc. So at some point, that's going to happen. And yet we don't find that. If they're saying millions upon millions of years, that's not true. This was recent. And like I said, when you put the puzzle piece together, when you got them saying they saw two large explosions in the atmosphere in 1941 through a telescope here, they must look at it through every day. They were looking through it. Oh, yeah, just look at Mars, and they see these large explosions in the atmosphere, and they can prove it because of the radiation that they have sniffed out on Mars. So you go, okay, 1941. How many years ago is that from now? Makes a little bit better timeline as far as I'm concerned. Again, guys, it's all about putting the pieces together. That's what it's all about, right? Jerry McDonald, what's going on? Good to see you in there. You said just watch a documentary about Heaven's Gate cult. I think they were bat crap crazy. I hate to kind of swear anyway because I like to keep it. If we don't have to swear, we'll try not to. 39 of them committed suicide thinking a UFO behind a comet back in 1997. Interesting stuff. Yeah, because again, so here's my question. But just by reading that, think about this a minute. Would you admit that there's aliens outside of our world? Because if you see something like that, people are jumping off of buildings, killing themselves, or doing whatever, committing suicide. Do you really want to tell the public? For us, we'd probably go, hey, that's awesome. We knew this all along. But then they tell you, yeah, well, here's the thing, though. There's this big armada coming that, these people literally, they're like locusts. They come to one planet and another, just, kind of like what Independence Day, where they literally take all the resources and basically rape the planet of life, and then it leaves it for dead. You'd probably crap yourself. But if you just say, oh, yeah, they're well off and, or there used to be something on the moon or on Mars, but no, it's no longer there, then you go, hey, interesting. Whew, thank God for that. Think about it. So if you get people doing that, that's kind of odd. You know what I mean? You would think some people would not react kindly to it. For all of us, we'd just go, oh, yeah, we already knew all that. We're good. Tell us more. Oh, thank you, Claire. I appreciate you. You said, sorry to hear that, Chris. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. It's, unfortunately, life, death is a part of life, which really sucks. But, it is what it is. Got two people that I was pretty close to in the last, in 2 or 3 weeks, just passed. So, it's never a good thing. But, and you guys know how that feels. It's happened to a lot of you. In fact, you guys have told me, some of your wives have passed on from cancers and stuff like that. And, nothing but heartfelt apologies for that, because it's not easy, And if you are truly attached to your loved one, I don't care if it's family, husband, wife, whatever it may be, then it's not easy. It's, it's as simple as that. Stephen Porter, what's going on? He said, good evening, everyone, from wet Wales. Yeah, we're not wet here. It was actually pretty nice today. Come up to I think it was like 70 degrees. But that's kind of crap. It's going to go right to crap on this week coming up. It'll be really chilly. I think some of the highs are going to be like 37. So, yeah, we're going to be right back in the colder temps. Oh, I hate with this thing, John. Let me see. Oh, yeah, the Haley Bob comment, yeah. Smart Steve 68, yeah. Comment 1997. Yeah, I mean, because they were saying they had the tail of the comment and stuff like that. Oh, there's a UFO behind it. It's going to kill us all. How do you know that? And who brought this stuff up? I remember, I'm trying to remember if it was back in 2012, because I started doing these, I think, back then. People were asking me about that. Oh, Chris, is there any truth to that? I watched this video, we're all going to die. And no, please stop. It's BS. It's just to get hits on your channel. That's not true. Trust me, it's not true. And, a lot of people I respect your opinion. So listen, nowhere does it say it's the end of the world. In fact, the Mayans would laugh at you if you actually told them, because they said, no, it's a time for enlightenment. Had nothing to do with, the planet's going to end and we're all going to die. Had nothing to do with that at all. There's a bunch of fear-mongering going on. And when you see that in the news and people say, I got to take to YouTube and find out what everybody else is talking about. Oh, my God, it sounds bleak. We're all going to die. It's not true. It's just simply not true. Yeah, Boysenberry Dracula, you said, and you're right. You said if they admit aliens, they admit they don't own the airspace, right? And they're powerless. Because think about it. When you look at your governments now, you think power, military. Well, wait a minute. There's a civilization out there that looks at us and our high technology and laugh at it oh, that's so sad. So suddenly your military seems to be weak, and now you would be in bigger fear because you got nobody to protect you. So think about that. So you're absolutely right about that. Yes, Mimi reacts like the movie Oblivion. Exactly. Stealing the water, yep. Cloudy with a chance of UFOs. What's going on, man? You said evening, Chris, and all in chat. Just got home. Hope everyone is good. What and how much have I missed? Just a few, questions we were talking about and comments and stuff. Talking about basically civilization. We were talking about in Antarctica and, life outside here, our Earth. If there was ever, a civilization that came here and basically wanted to kill us all off. Things like that, But, yeah, really, really cool. Good stuff. Charlene Sampson, they can't handle the truth. That's true. You were talking to Joss when you said that, but yeah. Mr. Seven Digit, I read somewhere, you said I read somewhere years ago that we nuked Mars during World War II, but the Martians possibly nuked themselves prior, forcing their civilization to regress so far. Well, I don't know how true that is, but, it's a possibility. And I even said this too. I said, guys, wouldn't this be really sad if we knew there was life there? And let's say there were actually these smaller beings on the planet. And let's say they were pretty, the technology was pretty good and everything else. And we sent this ourselves just to basically contaminate the planet and kill everybody. We put every germ that we know to man that can cause, any kind of virus, just anything that will cause like death to man or anything else, just explode into their atmosphere. You don't even have to ruin everything that's on that planet. All you got to do is just let the stuff out, and it kills everything on the planet. Basically, a giant cocktail of death. So, is that true? I don't know. I doubt it. But wouldn't that be sad if that was like that? Let me see here. Let me go back here. I hate when this thing, John. Here we go. Sean, you're taking off. You said good night, all. I have work tomorrow. Love the show, Chris. Well, I appreciate you, Sean. Yeah, I got to do the same thing. I got to go to work tomorrow, which sucks. But then I start my vacation, so beautiful. But yeah, man, have yourself a good weekend and stay safe there, right? Good having you on. Well, Charlene, I know you're talking to Josh there, but you said, I think it's just another excuse to keep us dumbed down and to keep the elites rich. Or just simply about power. That's basically what it comes down to. And I don't doubt that. That's what it's all about. It's all about control of the population, keeping the planet, as weird as that sounds, it's kind of like you're going, okay, we got to make sure the population doesn't get too big for the planet. We need to be able to survive as the human race. But what would happen, question for you guys, with that being said, what if they start a civilization on Mars and it's basically like a utopia? In other words, they make sure there's no crime there. Basically the healthy of the healthy go there, so on and so forth. Now they suddenly don't care about Earth like they do Mars. What happens here? Something to ponder, right? Think about that for a little bit. Kim Jong, he said, Mars was nuked by another alien race. Trust me, I know. That'd be something if you had first-hand knowledge of that. That'd be crazy, wouldn't it? Rockets, you said USOs under our oceans. Yeah, I mean, I've said this before. I'm going to get another drink. No, I'm kidding. Subway, drink fresh. And eat fresh. But, in these deepest oceans, how do we know it's there? Think about that. If we haven't been to some of these areas in these oceans, how do we know they don't go under, come up underneath these giant land masses, and they have like these giant caverns underneath, and they got cities in there? How do we know? Could very well be, right? Let me see. Yeah, you gotta love that. You said that, Mimi. You said the headline sounds a bit like the German bill. Yeah, I mean, look at it. Oh yeah. Let me see here. Whoops. James Cragen, thank you again for your support. You said, Chris, bang on Machu Picchu, the Mayan cities, Karnak, France, Stonehenge, Egyptian pyramids, and plenty of granite-cut structures worldwide. There's the truth. Yeah, I mean, it's like, you said like Machu Picchu. When you look at areas like that, that's crazy. Melting of stones together, put them together like little pieces. Just there's so many areas here. You just go, how do these people do this? Did they have like, stone melting technology that could do that and just, melt them together? Clearly they had something because they did that, right? I like how he said, today they're already talking differently. I have nothing to lose. I've received degrees and awards. I am respected in universities abroad where the trend is also changing. And of course, this is the, what do you call is that my voice? Israel's former space chief. So when I read that, because the guy, again, he was just, distinguished kind of guy up there in, ranks and whatever. So this guy wasn't some like, fly-by-nighter. So is this stuff real? I think there's some truth to it, to be honest with you guys. Oh, it kind of looks like him. No. It does actually have some truth to that, I think. Because some people say, well, if it's just a bunch of crap, but doesn't mean there's no truth to that at all, guys. Come on, right? Oh, absolutely. Blue Flash, you're wrong, because you said there's no water or oxygen on Mars. There is. There's a very small amount of oxygen, and there's actually a water cycle on, or at least in Gale Crater. That's actually been said by one of the scientists working on the Curiosity rover. And they were talking about his hammer drill. If you look at the hammer drill, it's got like, I think it had the diamond tip, and the way it's designed, the picture of being a triangle, and then it has a drill bit attached. So that's what turns this thing. And there's this glass tube. So once it drilled, and you can hear it's like a little jackhammer drilled, it would literally spiral it up, and it would go into the spectrum analyzer. Well, when the guy asked him, he interviewed him, he goes, well, sometimes it can get jammed up in there. He says, get jammed up? What do you mean? He said, well, yeah, we just recently found out there's a water cycle in Gale Crater, and that this could jam up this actual chute to this thing, and so we can't get the actual soil into the spectrum analyzer. So there's absolutely a water cycle there, and there's oxygen there. And if you go by what NASA is telling us, yeah, and you're right, but that's not true. Because like I said, then this guy come out, and of course he works for NASA, well, a company that's affiliated. And like I said, he's the engineer that made the hammer drill, and of course I'm sure he's partaked in a lot of the parts on that rover. So really interesting when you start putting the pieces together. It is a blue sky there. That was known if you look at the InSight landing. Just look up InSight landing first pictures from Mars, and we talked about this many a times where the very first picture, the photo was blue, the sky was blue, and they went, oh yeah, and even the people in there were going, oh look, it's blue. And then not 10 seconds later, boom, everything went red. So it's definitely blue. Blue sky. We got cirrus clouds constantly. We've got a water cycle we already know. There's already water. Well, it's more brine in the soil. So it's more of a very high salt content, water. But, I mean, the list goes on. You got cold, warm. You got weather fronts. You got these little twisters you see in these videos or these snapshots. And, of course, they put them together as a small video. Just put all the parts together. I can almost promise you there's probably still life there today, at least in an organic form. I don't mean intelligent, and it could be that too. We don't know. We're speculating. But, there's much more there than you think. Stephen Porter, you said, hey, Chris, which country do you think will expose them first? Are you talking about the actual, meaning come out with the actual truth of disclosure? I don't know, man. I really don't. It's almost like, because everybody's keeping the secret, like meaning the higher-ups of all of these countries, they're keeping it secret. They're just waiting for one of them to be disgruntled. Maybe, well, the United States pissed us off, or vice versa, or whatever. So we're going to rat them out, whatever. It almost seems like it has to come to that for one of them to actually spill it. But because, they came out a little bit, our Pentagon came out a little bit, they're coming out. Maybe they're just slowly building this up. I don't know. What are you guys' thoughts on that? Do you think any of these guys will actually, what country do you think will come out with it first? And do you think they'll actually be full disclosure, just kind of like hinting along the same thing the Pentagon. Yeah, there's UFOs and stuff like that. But I know a lot of the countries, especially in Europe, I think it was, that, or even Mexico, I think, did it. They were coming out with videos, and it was on their news constantly about UFOs. It was constantly doing it. They don't care. For some reason here, it's like, shh. But if you want to remain a superpower, you're going to get technologies from the moon, stuff that was laid there, or left there on the moon. Stuff on Mars, if that's true. There was civilization on there. Right here in Antarctica, so on and so forth. If that's the case, it's all about getting that high technology and using it for yourself, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. You want to be the superpower, you're going to be like, shh, don't say anything. And you can understand that, but it's so wrong on so many levels. I mean, you know what I'm saying? You got to look at it from their point of view. Hell, we can grab this up for ourselves. And again, whether it's for good reasons, bad reasons, or in between, right? Elaine Millard, you said, I lost my hubby in 2017, 2 months after he's been told at the heart hospital he had 5 to 10 years left. He just suddenly took an unexpected turn for the worst. Even the doctors and nurses hadn't expected it. Well, my condolences to you. I'm sorry to hear that. It's kind of like my uncle when he had the multiple myeloma like Sarah did. He went through the chemo, he went through the radiation, went through all that. And they said, well, you got 2 years to live. 6 months later, he was passed on. So I don't believe timelines. I don't think because they're not in your body and you're not being constantly observed, they can't see the acceleration of these cancer cells and everything else, and they just don't know. They're just taking wild guesses. They tell you that. I think they tell you that so that you can spend the money. Well, don't you want to prolong your life a little bit longer to be with your loved ones? Oh, sure. And in the meantime, they're going, we're just going to go ahead and take that millions of dollars from your health care, and we'll go ahead and take that, and, oh, we were wrong. Sorry, so sorry to hear that. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, I mean, it devastates you when that happens. So, again, my apologies and my condolences to you. You just hate to hear that kind of thing. Yeah, I mean, it's sad, it really is. It's all about big money, big pharma. That's all it is. Let's see. Yes, JB, you said Mars has an isotope that only found after a nuclear weapon has been used. Yeah. Again, because they actually, Dr. John Brandenburg actually spoke about this, and he's the one that talked about the gentleman who actually seen the two large explosions. And then when they did these analysis of NASA's, I think it was, I'm trying to remember if it was the Maven spacecraft that went into the lower atmosphere and basically sniffed the air, they found out it was right next to the Cydonia region where these explosions occurred. And they also had, and there's some areas that the actual Curiosity rovers actually sniffed this out. So it's expanded quite a bit. Think about it. If it's midair, not on the ground, in the air, it spread so much farther. So it makes sense that they would do that. So this stuff is in the air. And it said there's no way unless some kind of detonation went off, some nuclear device or something. So doesn't surprise me. And I think it's absolutely right. And again, look at time frames. Look at what's on the planet, so on and so forth. I think that planet still has life. Oops. Man, I'm trying to creep each one of these, and all of a sudden, off it went. I think this thing jumped quite a bit. I'm trying to go back, and I'm like, where's the last one I just said? And it's like, man. James, thank you much. Thank you again. Appreciate it. You said, Chris, get a Guinness for that, for that throat, my friend. Yeah, because you're talking and it just dries it up. Not to mention the allergies in the air is just crazy right now. Because, again, it was 70 degrees out today. Really, really nice. Have the windows open. Next thing you know, you're like, okay. So I'll drink to that. Again, James, thank you very much. Appreciate you. All right, let me see if we can find where we're at here. Yep, this goes way back. Jeez. What's going on? Archie says, "Salute, Chris. What's going on?" Wow, this thing jumped quite a bit. Good Lord. Okay, I think we found it now. Okay, there's winner. Okay. Michael Bray says, "Hey Chris, good show as always. Do you think NASA will let Elon reveal what is actually on the moon and Mars, or will they stop him from ever getting there? Love you, man. Stay safe and keep rocking." I think, no, they won't stop him from going there because he's actually subcontracted and he's actually, basically, I call them bedfellows because they're now, they're basically helping each other out. In fact, they gave him, Elon a contract, to help him out and everything else. So he's in like Flynn. He probably knows the whole thing, privy to it. He's probably saying, "Guys, come on, give me the skinny on this. What's going on?" I won't say nothing. So you can bet he's going to go there like he wants to because he even said he wants to die on Mars, right? But I don't think he'll disclose anything. Because think about it. It's all about keeping it all hush-hush. Now, maybe after we get a civilization up there and have X amount of people out there, they'll probably reveal it then. Because by then, think about it, you've already conquered us going there. In other words, let's say we fast forward. We're with Elon Musk. We're part of the civilization that's up there now. We've already built the structures. We're there. Or we're in the structure. We're occupying the structures that were left over from the civilization that was there. Whatever it may be. So now we're there and everything else. Now it's just old hats. We're just going flying back and forth to Mars. And it's no big deal where it was before. So now they can say, "Oh, funny thing is we turned a corner and there's these weird structures." It was like, "Oh, it must have been something here at one time." People go, "Oh, wow, it's cool. We've already conquered getting there ourselves and putting a civilization there." So it won't seem like, "Oh my God," at that time. Because we're going to say, "Yeah, it's so old. We don't even know how old it is." So, there's no threat or imminent threat or anything like that. So we're good. So think about that a minute. It's kind of like, by then, it wouldn't even be anything special. But because we don't have man there, and they were to say it right now, I think people would probably have a whole different perspective. Depends on timing, and timing is everything. Nope, I think I didn't jump there. Phil Cox with daughters Jessica and Kelsey Brown. What's going on? He said, "I think it's only 5% explored the oceans. We know more about space than the bottom of the oceans." Well, at least that's what we claim, right? Now we've been to the bottom, the Marianas Trench. We've been to the bottom of it, but there's actually deeper parts of the ocean that they're now finding. So we can go under there and kind of scope it around and look for any. Think about it. If you could see like this side of this part of the actual crust, if you will, you're like going along and all of a sudden you can go up like this here and you can actually go up and it's like a pool on there once you surface. Kind of like, you ever see like Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea where they would do that, come up and, they're up in this huge cavernous area. I mean, they could literally go up in there and just fly in there, or maybe it's an underwater city that's under a dome or some crazy stuff. Who knows, right? Pure speculation. But if you could go up and under that, and so all of a sudden it's just air under there, and it's fine, and they got a whole city in it, you wouldn't be none the wiser. Because let's say it's miles underneath the surface, you wouldn't even know it. And the great pressures that would crush us, maybe their spacecraft can handle it without not even trying, and they're in and out of there. I mean, look at some of these creatures that are at the bottom of these trenches. They're bioluminescent, they're just kind of like all the different colors, and they're things with no eyes because they're in the dark, right? And the pressure's not killing them. Crazy, right? But if we went down there so far, we'd literally get crushed like a tin can. So we don't know what's at the bottom of our oceans, like you're saying. But I mean, I think they're starting to, if they found anything of any value, they're going to keep looking. And they're going to keep looking. So eventually they'll find it, or they already have, and they're already in these kind of talks with these aliens. Who knows? Again, we don't know. There's no way of vetting it. But either way. Dan Oosterlong, he said, Stephen Greer had spoken about the item of alien threat to the world that will unite us on Earth, a false idea to create fear among us, like the COVID-19, and create a new world order. Yeah, I mean, again, it's all about control, keeping you in fear when they want you to be. So this way you cower and you say, oh, governments protect us. But again, if we found out ourselves that there was somebody much stronger, much more technologically advanced, you'd look at your governments like they're trash. And frankly, quite frankly, if these people aren't, these aliens, if they weren't out to kill us, I'd be like, please take me. Get me off this darn planet. Now, let me jump way down here to the bottom here. I'm sorry if I missed anybody's comments or questions. Just go ahead and tell me. I'm going to get way, way down here like we belong here. Appreciate it, dear Archetype Net. You said no one can ever know. My sympathies to you and your family. I appreciate it, man. Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's never easy, right? Rachel Anderson, thank you very much. Good to see you in there. How are you today? Hope you're doing well. Missed you, I think, the past few of them, didn't we? Hangouts. Mimi, you said if America disclosure happens, German government won't react to it, at least not for a while. Merkel, you said, I think it says, always needs a while to react to anything. Well, yeah, you put LOL. Well, the funny thing about it is, if somebody should come out with it, in other words, let's say, again, we'll just go with, we'll just go with Germany. Doesn't really matter. Russia, it doesn't really matter. Any country, doesn't matter. If they got disgruntled and said, we're going to just blurt the whole thing out, of course, depending on how many countries are in on this, that may not be a good idea for that country. But if you can imagine, if they said, yeah, the whole thing's going on, kind of like this right here, saying America and Israel, they're basically teamed up together, so on and so forth. It's got a city on Mars, an underground city, and the aliens are around us and stuff like that. It wouldn't surprise me. And I believe that's what's going on. These elites, they know much more than the public will ever know, right? Oh, okay. Rachel, you said, I'm good, Chris. I appreciate that. I'm glad you are. Glad you are doing well. Dave Haver, you said, Voice at the Bottom of the Sea. Now, that's a blast from my childhood. Yeah, absolutely. I used to love that show. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool. Charlene, you said Earth is not solid. It has honeycomb areas, and I think every planet has a hole in it to some degree or another. Yeah, I mean, you're going to have caverns, right, too, right? You're going to have, like, I don't care if it's ancient lava tubes. I don't care if it's just, how many times you see these ungodly-sized caves where people, they dive into these caves. They go climbing and, going into these things and checking these what's the term I want to use, like cave researchers kind of thing? Or they just go on these expeditions just to go in these very large caves. They're so large, you can actually put a small city in there, or a town. It's insane. And that's in the ones we can get to. What about something that's underwater, and somehow you can get to it through underwater, and you go up inside, and there's like oxygen inside there? We don't know. We have no clue what's out there. We have an idea, of course. Sean Sellers says, COVID is a new religion, controlled by fear. Yeah, if you allow it, right? Yeah, Pete, you're right. You said penguins seem to survive nicely in Antarctica. Why not advance aliens? Yeah, and here's the thing. It's kind of like, when they went to the moon. They had like basically in the back of on their backpacks, it basically was their atmospheric conditions. In other words, it could cool you if you're too hot and warm you up when you're cold. So why couldn't they do something similar to that? Or maybe some kind of body exoskeleton or something like that. It keeps them insulated. Who knows? Because that's looking at a lot of sci-fi movies. But you know what I'm saying. Why couldn't they survive? Just because we couldn't, you literally almost instantly freeze depending on where you're at. Let's see. Let me see. Too Fast TJM says, very sad, Chris, when the human population believes everything they hear from the government and the mainstream academia. They must take the red pill and wake up and start believing their lying eyes. Well, that's what it's all about. Find what we're seeing in these photos, exposing it, bringing it out, and then we can all get together, you're doing your research. Everybody does their research and coming up with their own things, saying, hey, this is what I believe is going on. And this is the idea. It's like I said, I keep referring to like the round table, if you will. Everybody's getting together saying, hey, have you seen this? Have you seen that? And then if we're talking about a certain photo, we're saying, wow, check this out. Just some cool things in here. So that's cool, that we can do that. And yeah, people need to wake up. I mean, if they haven't figured this out yet, man, I don't know what they're doing with their lives, but most people, the average person, doesn't care or never thought to look into it, because if they did, they'd probably go, wow, that's pretty intriguing. Some people would say, man, who cares? Which is really crazy, right? Because you'd think you would really care. I do. I want to know what I believe in is either true or false. I want to know the truth. India, let's see, you were saying India. Yeah, Pete, you were saying India would accept an alien visit with least trouble because they study their ancient past. Yeah, I mean, again, in Sanskrit and stuff like that, it was written in Sanskrit in India. And like I said, if you read the Mahabharata, they talk about how there was, I said this before, like great cities in the sky, and they would fight amongst each other with weapons brighter than the sun. Where are they getting this stuff from? And I said this before, and I kind of joked about it. I said, were they like sci-fi writers back in the day? I don't think so. I think these people, they wrote because they felt an imperative to document it and write it down. Of course, some civilizations will, carve it literally into stone or whatever. But they found it important enough to write about it. And, this is the reason why you see this melted sand in certain places. We know what causes that. So it's just crazy how some of these areas are actually covered in glass. Like there was a massive heat explosion. Where did that come from? And this goes back thousands of years. Was it due to maybe a falling rock from outer space? That could happen. Heat up the whole area and turn it into glass. Absolutely. Now, or is it caused by something else? I don't know. Phil C., what's going on? And you said you're taking off. You said, I'm worn out. Good night, Chris. Everyone. All right, Phil, thanks for stopping in. Do appreciate you, man. Be safe. Scott Duff, you taking off too? You said, what does it say? Could somebody just say Google is your friend? I don't know, is it? It could be. Yeah. But I don't know if you're getting out of here too, Scott, but if you are, have a good night and a good weekend there as well, right? Okay. You guys are just talking amongst yourselves here? Exactly, Phil Cox. You said in the Mahabharata, they describe advanced weaponry. Yeah. And like I said, the way they talk about it, cities, not talking about a little spacecraft, they're talking about cities flying in the sky and then, literally weapons, they're fighting each other. And, these advanced weaponry, like I said, with weapons as bright as the sun, if not brighter than the sun. What? Again, where did they come up with this stuff? Clearly, they must have been writing about something they've seen. It's not just something made up. Mimi Reacts, that's a great question. A lot of people speculate on a lot of that. I don't know, truthfully. Who knows? You said your question was, what are those little bags that the Sumerian gods always carry around? I mean, we don't know if that's just simply like, I don't know. it's kind of like an ancient pocketbook, right? But some people, say that it's like technology in it, or I mean, to me, it could have been something to keep samples in or something. Who knows? Because that is interesting. There's a lot of statues, and I don't think it's just the Sumerian gods. There's other people that have other cultures, ancient civilizations show the same thing, where they got these weird like watches on. They talk about these shows like these bags that they're holding. I don't know. That's a great question. And of course, a lot of people throw a lot of answers at it, but there's no way to vet any of that. We know that. But that is interesting. Pete, you said my nephew did some episodes of Bottom of the Sea. Oh, really? Was he actually an actor who was in it? If he was, that's pretty interesting. That's pretty cool. Oops. Damn. Okay, there it goes. All right. All right, Sean Sellers, you said yes. All the ancient people have seen something everywhere, all over the world, and they have. Truthfully, they have. Anything that looks like you can see where they actually did paintings where it looks like alien heads and stuff like that, or even some of them look like insect people. Remember that, guys? It was like some kind of weird insects that had like like antenna type thing on their heads. Some of them looked like they had like a helmets on their head. Where did they come up with these ideas? Now, I'm sure some of it's hoaxed. Somebody, they painted in there, made it look like it was faded out, but they could test that to see if it's, how old it is and stuff like that, so they know it's hoaxed or not. But the stuff that's legit, kind of like in the movie Prometheus, where they show, the guys pointing them, to the stars, where those things are actually, actually painted in the caves, that's pretty interesting. And if they did that, why? That's the big question. Why would they do that? Yeah, pretty cool. I don't know if you guys seen this either. The actual Arecibo actually collapsed this time. So they were talking about how they were going to take it down because it had I think it was like 100 feet of it. But you can see right here, I don't know if I can get how much further I can get in that. Right here, you can see the actual support. You got 1, 2, 3, 4. Actually, it might have been the 3, but there's a tower right here that was part for the antenna itself. It all come crashing down. You guys see that? Look at the whole thing right in the middle is now trashed. I don't know if you've seen that, but we talked about it last time where they had like a support had dropped, like some cables or something had fallen, made a total mess out of it. But these here, just to give you an idea, I don't know if you guys can see this, probably not. I'm going to try to put it right in the middle. But you got this right here, this tower where these were supports and stuff like that. But you can see right here, there's 1, 2, 3. It appears to be 3 of these in the middle. Those were supports for the actual dish. Well, the whole thing just came crashing down into the ground, and that's basically junk now. And they were afraid because it's going to take X amount of time to dismantle that. But I think they'll actually get back to some point. They'll rebuild that because it's a great area to do it. They already had one there. I think at some point they're going to try to put this thing back together. It says right here, the iconic 1,000-foot wide antenna. The platform fell fell unexpectedly. A spokesman for the NSF told New York Times the foundation didn't say what caused the collapse. Something it's promised to do once it had more information. However, no one at the site was injured, which is great. Good to hear. I am Merkin. What's going on? It's been a while since I've seen you in there. He said, hi, Chris. Glad I caught your live stream. Well, I'm glad you did, too. Glad to see you in there, man. Let me see. Yeah, Dave, they said, because you asked, did you say the cable snapped? Amazing footage. Yeah, they had like a support that went down and collapsed, but then the rest of this thing come down, which is really crazy. You can see it on the left-hand side, just on the edge of the dish, right here, that white tower type thing. I think that was part of the actual antenna itself, because they had the cables from 3 different supports, and then the actual had another tower, and I think the whole thing just come crashing down. And that's sad to see that, because these guys were really wanting to use this. So I think at some point they're going to come back with it. They are going to, they'll rebuild that thing. They've got to. I don't know if you guys heard about the other thing too. Oh God, what was his name? I'm not going to remember the name of the channel. You guys will. But anyway, he talks about the sun all the time. And I don't know if you guys heard about that, but there was a CME, coronal mass ejection. You'll see it right now. Explodes. And you can see that. And they were supposed to be, the CME was supposed to be coming to Earth. They said it might disrupt, satellites and communications and stuff like that. But that was supposed to be during this week. Now, I don't know if it's if that threat is passed, but back in I think it was like 1918. It was some time back that we had a serious, one of these serious waves, and it's showing a scale to Earth right there. It's real tiny, and you can imagine what that would do to Earth. Now, obviously, it's not there, but they're just saying a scale to it. But they had like one of these things actually hit the Earth, and you can literally see the telegraph lines were literally singed. So if you had something like that today, that would be absolutely throw us into the dark ages. However, a lot of people already protect themselves against anything to do with the sun or any kind of, what is that? Oh, like any kind of electromagnetic disturbance, any of that sort. Like EMPs, things like that. But for the average person, oh yeah, you'd be knocked into the dark ages. And that's just crazy because it would disrupt everything. And I think it would even affect, if you had like a good large EMP or some kind of disturbance, electromagnetic, it could literally kill the computer in your car. It can do all kinds of crazy stuff. And that would be totally catastrophic. It would be just something that, just something you would not want to see. But they had that on there. So I wonder if science had that on there. The sun unleashes a spectacular solar flare, a coronal mass injection, launching a massive cloud of particles that mushrooms out and falls back down to the surface, captured by NASA's SDO spacecraft. Credit NASA GSFC. So, and it says right here, I'm sorry, let me get this a little bigger so you guys can see it too. Right here at the bottom. This time-lapse covers approximately 4 hours and was captured at the wavelength of 304 angstroms. Source and more details. And you can get it from here. We'll go ahead and click on that. Massive solar eruption close-up. So, and it was actually, when it come out, it went straight towards Earth. So that's why they were saying that. And you can see this right here. You can picture the, let me do this. You can see it right there. Just come right out. Let's do this again. Start from here. Well, I have to wait until it goes back. There we go. And you'll see it come out. Boom. It's absolutely insane. You can see it falling back to the sun. But anything that force goes outward towards the planets. And that's why they said it could actually interfere with our communications and so on and so forth. So, but I think that might have been in the beginning of the week, but I could be wrong. But they are, man. It's just crazy. So, interesting stuff. What do you guys think about that? Can you imagine that? That's fierce, man. That's just crazy. I don't know if you can loop this. I don't think you can, but either way, that's pretty cool. Look at the way that stuff comes back to. Oh, it's something observers. You guys would know it. Some of you guys watch them as well. Something observers. I can't remember the first part of it. Miss Heard, what's going on? Good to see you in there. I didn't even see you jump in there. Yeah, too fast. TJM, he said, especially when the sun is the size of a basketball and the Earth would be the size of a BB. Yeah, it would literally annihilate that. I mean, it's just crazy. But even though that goes back down to the sun, that doesn't mean it's not traveling out in space, and that's what they're afraid of, because he's, it just comes straight towards Earth, and they're afraid, like I said, about the communication satellites, weather satellite, GPS, all that kind of good stuff. Haven't heard of anything that was disrupted, so I don't. It's either A, it didn't happen, meaning it didn't actually penetrate Earth's magnetic fields, but it protected us, or it just hasn't hit yet. Like I said, either way, thank you, Third Eye Open, and good to see you in there. Suspicious Observers. Really, really cool channel. If you guys haven't checked it out, look at it. He does really good. He's talking about the solar weather and even just regular, how it affects our weather here on Earth. Really, really good stuff. Scratch says the same thing. Thank you, Scratch. Let me see. Bionic Bob says, yeah, but other channels predicted much worse. Of course. Well, yeah, you know how that goes. Yeah, is that like the fear-mongering channels that are talking, oh my God, we're going to get this, we're all going to die, kind of thing. It's like, oh my God, please stop. I get tired of seeing channels like that. It's when they come out with something that bizarre, it's like you can't help but to laugh. But they're getting the clicks. That's, they're getting the clicks on their channel. That's what it's all about for them. There's nothing wrong with having people view your channel as long as you're not trying to snow job them and you're actually showing you're being sincere and trying to show whatever it is topic you're trying to show, right? I think people appreciate that a little bit more. Yeah, exactly. Always doom and gloom, you said, Bionic Bob. Yeah, exactly. Jerry Lane says, fry us like sats and comms. Absolutely. That's just neat. Daniel Webster, what's going on? He said, hello, Chris, and Truth Seekers. I was trying to combine the two words. Hope you're doing good there, Daniel. Leslie Warren, you said, amazing flare, and they disrupt our technology, etc. Chris, do you think that they are worried about this government, etc.? Do you think that's why moon eclipses the sun, etc.? I don't know. I don't know if they're actually interlaced, meaning interlocked, or the same, if you will, or some kind of, if they're connected. If so, if you want to go with that, I'm not sure about that, but it would actually disrupt everything here. In other words, if the magnetic field failed here on Earth, or it was so big that it could overcome it, then yeah, it would be absolutely catastrophic here. Now, the military, you could bet they're insulated, of course, for any kind of EMPs or anything that comes from the sun. Any of that sort, any of them CMEs, it definitely would protect them. And I think a lot of these power grids are now starting to do the same because they don't want the same reoccurrence they had back in the 1900s where, again, thankfully, all they had was telegraph lines back then. Maybe even electricity, but regardless, it was so small, the infrastructure is like, big deal, right? Today, it would be catastrophic. You would literally have cars dying in the middle of the road. You'd have satellites, so all of a sudden you can't call nobody, completely dead. It would literally just play havoc on the world, man. It would just be... Now, I don't mean like, again, we were talking about like these fear-mongering things. That's a big, huge if. And that's if it's something that overpowers the magnetic field of Earth. There's so many variances. In other words, you may have something may be strong enough to knock out a satellite temporarily, like a communication satellite. So you might have maybe your cable TV go down for a short time and then it's back up. Or a cell phone, like the satellite phones and stuff like that. Stuff like that. Other than that, it had to be something incredibly large like that. To actually literally disrupt our actual field around our Earth. And that would be something, like I said, that'd be crazy. But, people want to say, it's going to happen. No, that's not what it means. It has nothing to do with that. Architect, type, net. I always say it fast, but it sounds like that. Always check out the channel. See the Pattern is the name of the channel. Very good on this topic too. Okay. Not even aware of that one either. Finding Bobby said, I did have static interference via my cell phone, and I'm in Michigan with Metro PCS. Well, I mean, that might have been just a local occurrence, but or it might have just happened. Who knows, right? Anybody else have anything like that? Maybe a satellite or anything like that go down, like your TV or something, or like a temporary blackout or any of that sort? Now, let me see. Pretty much too fast. TJM, he said it will thrust us back to the early 19th century. Well, I mean, it would be bad. I mean, people, whether you're playing on your phones or you use your phone for business or whatever it is, can just say, well, that's junk, and you can't use that. Okay, that's out. Well, you can't travel anymore because you basically singed your computer in your car. Pretty much anything electronic. Now, if it's just basic stuff like simple lights, which it probably wouldn't do anything bad as far as your lights in your house, but now what it would do to the grid would be something different. So basically, it'd still be in the dark. Yeah, that would be crazy. I mean, and again, it's a huge if. That's not something that they're saying, yes, it's absolutely going to happen. Is it a possibility? Yeah, a slight one. But yeah, we don't do that fear-mongering stuff here. Be wary of people like that. James Cameron. What if it hits right now in the middle of this discussion? If so, bye everybody, just in case. Yeah, that would be bad. That wouldn't be good at all. Let's see. Mary McGillivray. I'm not sure I'm pronouncing that correctly. Forgive me if I'm not. He said, hi, Chris. A belated hello from Dublin, Ireland. Well, good to see you there, Mary. Glad you could be with us. James Cragen, you said, Chris, check out the Paul Stonehill on Coast to Coast Radio. He's a UFO. I'm sorry, he's a Russian UFO researcher and has fantastic information about the Russian government and the history of UFO sightings and visitations. Have to check that out. Just my internet and TV modem shut down. Shut up. Well, I don't know if it's supposed to be shut down, but that's pretty funny. Jack DeVille, what's going on? Good to see you in there. He said, that looks like the Carrington flare that happened in 1860. Yeah, I mean, it goes back to way back then. And like I said, it singed all kinds of, like I said, telegraph lines and simple stuff. But again, if you had something like that today, what would that do? Everybody go out and buy a simple car that had no computers in it, you'll be all right. Of course, gas stations would be down, so you couldn't get gas. I mean, there's just a list of things that could just happen. You're just basically stuck. Because think about it, if you had a regular car that had no computer in it, you're like, oh, wow, it's great. Well, the gas station's down. Nothing's working. No cash registers. No credit cards. You know, we had this conversation with a bunch of friends that said, you know, what if, it's that what if scenario, that this happened, you know, how would people react to that? Total social breakdown. Simple as that. Oops. Poor Garden, what's going on? He said, cheers, all. Oh, y'all? What's happening? Well, I mean, Rachel has a good question. She said, I wonder if one day Earth will get sucked into the sun. Well, I don't know about getting sucked into it, but we know it's supposed to expand, right? It's supposed to I think it's supposed to become a supernova at some point. So basically, one by one, it's just going to start swallowing planets. But we'll be ancient memories. So I don't think we'll have to worry about that. But at some point, they said it's just going to expand until, it's pretty much dies out, I think. But it'll swallow planets along the way, and then, of course, there won't be nothing left of the solar system, which is just crazy. Yeah, you notice how you haven't heard nothing about that, right, Stephen? Stefan, rather. I'm sorry. You said, did anyone ever find out why the base monitoring the sun got shut down a while back, and it was evacuated by its staff? The app, apparently they were put out is still down. Yeah, I mean, I heard about that too. I remember that was a big thing. In fact, I might have talked about it on my channel, where they literally, it's something like they were monitoring about the sun, and all of a sudden they just evacuated. I mean, in fact, people went back to that and looked through the town. They just left everything that was there. They just left it there and took off. That was it. And it was regular houses. It's almost like military barracks, right? But it was regular houses, and people just got up and they left. Just took off. That was it. And the funny thing about it, I never heard another word about it. Did you? Nope. Thank you very much, John Hookings. I do appreciate you, brother. Much respect. Thank you. You said, sorry, it's not much. There's not much. There's not more, Chris. Don't worry about it. Do appreciate you. Just being here is cool. Keep on getting out the truth slowly but surely. The human race is waking up. Yeah, I think with a lot of good researchers, people are really starting to come around. And it's like, again, the people who are in the know, well, I mean, I don't think we can know it all, but I mean, for most part, we do. It's something that you have here. So if it ever comes about, you're not going to be totally freaked out. You're going to be like, okay, wow, we're finally getting to hear the truth. So, yeah. But, no, I do appreciate that, John. Thank you very much for your support, brother. But, it's like slowly people are coming around. And like I said, it's not just me, bringing this stuff out. There's other people bringing it out too. And I think that's just awesome. And I think more and more people are starting to get on board and say, well, what I thought was a farce or what thought was a bunch of garbage. Some people actually said to me, at first I thought, there was something wrong. You had like a loose screw. But then as I started to research this stuff myself, everything you've been saying is true. I have no reason to lie about it. I'm not trying to blow something up, meaning make something it's not. Again, we do a lot of speculating here because, again, when we look at these photos, there's no way to tell whether it's true or not. Meaning, in other words, we can't handle this object or see it or, go there personally and look at it ourselves. All we can do is go by photos so we can just speculate as to what these things may be. And, it's funny because I had a couple of people, this is a while back, they say, oh, man, nothing but speculation. Yes. That's what I told them, yes. And? I mean, because I even said that to them, there's no way we can vet this stuff. So any way you can come out with it, let us know. Because, let me know if you can go to the moon and see these things yourselves and bring back some metals or some kind of technology for us. And then, we'll know for sure. Of course, they say, oh, there's no way the hell I can get there. Well, there you go. So, yeah, it's just crazy, and I'm glad a lot of people are really coming around to this. There actually are people starting up new channels, which is awesome. Because as long as they're really, really good channels, and then it's, generation after generation is going to start to wake up more and more. And that's what this is all about. Oh, I'm glad I didn't botch it up for you there, Mary. You said your pronouncements was bang on, Chris. Okay. I didn't want to go completely butcher your last name, so my apologies if I did. That's why I said that. But good. I'm glad we got that right. I try. I don't always get it right. But you try. James Cameron, he said 2 or 3 days at the most it takes to hit the Earth. A coronal mass ejection, it's about a week late. Now, it's supposed to be this week, I thought. But regardless, right? If we go through this or just, we go about it and we're unscathed, great. That's what we want to hear. Because that would really suck having to start fires again with sticks and, that wouldn't be good. It's like, all right, get out that can of beans. Oh, man, we only had an electric, a can opener. Well, get out the hammer and screwdriver. One way or the other, we're getting in this bad boy. Too Fast TGM, you said, I am old school, Chris. If we got hit with massive solar flare, I will be just fine. That's the Native American Indian flowing through my veins. Exactly. Yeah, if you're very resourceful and live off the land, it's no big deal. It's all good. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people have said that. Stefan, you said, hey, Chris, wrap your equipment with tin foil. It will save it from CME's radiation. The Apollo capsule wasn't much thicker, and it protect the ash. Yeah, but I mean, to a certain degree it did, right? Because they still seem like those yellow dots in there, or the bright dots and spots in their eyes. So it still was getting through. And here's the thing. Even if you could do that, let's say you did, and it survived it, never burned anything up. The problem is, what about the grid? You couldn't run it anymore because the grid's down. So one way or the other, you'd be screwed. I mean, let's just put it that way. It's just something to ponder. It's not something to fear because, the chance of that happening, I wouldn't say it's slim to not happening at all, but the good thing about it is, like I said, we are protecting ourselves. We're building this stuff up. Like I said, the grids all around the world, the military. So we wouldn't be dead in the water completely. At some point, we just rebuild. Excuse me. So, which is cool. Oops. Mags K, good to see you in there. I didn't see when you slipped in there. He said, that's all it takes, Chris, a little bit of research like myself, and they will soon get their eyes opened. Yeah, totally agree. And like I said, if people want to know what's really going on, they'll find it. They'll find out the reason. They'll just like, I'm just going to check this stuff out, and maybe it's BS. Let's say people that are new come to the channel because they've said that, well, I just thought, pulling everybody's leg, and then the more I watched you, and then I did my own research and said, yeah, it's pretty spot on. And that's what it's all about. It's I want people to research. I don't want to just lead them by the nose. And that's why there's a lot of good people here where they all do their own work, and even if they don't, they say, well, I've heard it from a good source that this is going on, and it kind of coincides with what you've been saying, and that's what it's all about. You can do your research in many ways, but just make sure it's a reputable source, and this is the reason why, as far as photos or anything like that, we give you any kind of links or anything like that, and if I find things in photos, I try to break them down, like the Antarctica photos, where I broke it down where you can see the lines in these things, and then when I enhanced those where the lines popped even more, you got to see these framework and these weird things that are supposed to be mountains, and they're clearly not. And that's the weird thing. So you guys can see how I broke it down. I'm not just drawing them in. They're literally there. So it makes you wonder, what's it doing there? It shouldn't be in Antarctica, but yet it is. There's crazy things there. Let me see. Daniel Webster said, when it gets its biggest, it will reach nearly to where Mars is, which sounds big, but there are stars that would reach all the way to Neptune and nearly there. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Oh, it depends on the size of the star, right? Let's see. Lee Herring, you said something has to happen. There is way too much evidence out there. Great job, Chris. Thank you, Lee. Appreciate that. Well, here's the thing. It's like, I think the more and more these countries come out with this, the better this is. Because then other countries might say, you know what, why don't we step up and say the same thing? Meaning, well, not the same, because clearly they'll be thinking, okay, now they're trying to hoax us big time. But as far as like, they're coming out with their own information and they start to come out slowly and slowly, then we know for a fact it's probably going to be true. I mean, like I said, usually sometimes if there's a bunch of lies, sometimes the truth comes out of it. There's a bit of truth there, so that's what we want. Oops. And they just jumped on me again. Scratchy said, I personally think the pole reversal weakening magnetosphere stuff should be the priority and what everyone should be aware of, but that isn't happening. Well, because they believe it wouldn't happen. They said, "Oh, there's no way that could happen to me." Da 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 da. I've had that happen to me, and you go and you're just saying to yourself, that could never happen to me, and stuff like that. But it turns out it does. You just have to be aware of the stuff around you because you just don't know what could happen. So, being prepared. I don't know if you can ever be prepared for that, but you can have somewhat. Like if my electricity went out, because my whole house runs on electricity. If it ran out, I've got backup heater. I've got backup basically a two-burner stove. I've got that stuff. I mean, I'm not in the dark, literally. And I have backup lighting. I've got generators. I got all kinds of stuff, just regular backup lighting. And so, I mean, don't get me wrong, that stuff will run out. But at least you get a little bit more of a shot. You know what I mean? If it's only temporary, it's even better, right? Poor God, you said the sun is scary. Well, it can be. Then I said that kind of crap. Let's see. Anita M. was talking to James. He said global warming is revealing some hidden structures and releasing some deadly viruses that have been locked in permafrost for a very long time. And that's what I heard, too. I mean, it's kind of like, of course, it was a little different, but if you ever seen the movie The Thing, the original, kind of like it was, in ice and stuff like that. And it turned out to be like some creature type thing. It was actually in a man, I think. But regardless, I mean, we don't know what was locked into this ice when that civilization was here, which is a great topic. I'm glad you mentioned that, Anita, because we were talking about that. What if that civilization was built from somewhere else, meaning not us that did it, and now if you think about it, you go, okay, so if that's true, then did they bring something here that they had? Maybe there's something they had, like viruses and everything else, and of course it got buried within the ice and snow. Now it's being unleashed. There's a lot of microbial life that actually is frozen, like in Antarctica and stuff like that, and they literally put it on the ice, and it literally starts to wake up by itself. So we don't know, what's really coming about. Like, it could be all kinds of stuff being unleashed, and we don't even know yet. Or maybe not. But if there is, and that was another civilization that was maybe not from here, and even if it was, maybe it's something that was long ago, it was a virus or something like that was deadly, and it was locked in the ice. Now it's coming back out again. Max K, you said, Chris, I'm thinking something has to be give sometime soon. It's getting more public, slowly, yes, but it's only a matter of time. And I totally agree. I mean, it's kind of like, if more and more, like I said, come out with it, then I think other countries would feel a lot easier about doing the same, because they won't think, oh, I'm the only one to kind of say this, so, basically I'm going to look like the fool. And that's not true, because you can clearly see that these guys are actually, like I said, you got Minister Paul Hellyer, you got this other, what's his name, Rashid, whatever his name is, from Israel. And these people are coming out. Now, whether they're 100% telling the truth, I don't know. But the thing is, a lot of these guys were in high places at the time, and maybe they couldn't say anything then, but now they can, because now they don't have that, status, so to speak. So now they can do that. I don't know. Rachel, imagine getting sucked into that sun, though. Yeah, that'd really mess up a perfectly good day, guys. That would be bad. Especially if you're like flying next to it. Oh, yeah, wow, look at that sun. All of a sudden, one of them CMEs come out. Dead man walking. That would be bad. That would be real bad. Leslie Warren, you said, I heard this in the past, that the virus and more disease, etc., and that melts too, plus the volcanoes, ice melting, etc. Yeah, I mean, anything that's going to, if there was, in fact, let's say there was no civilization there at all in Antarctica, which we know there are, or there is, But let's suppose there was nothing there, but maybe there was animals at there at some point, and maybe ancient man was there. Okay, so you have to ask yourself, what again? If they had some kind of viruses or whatever, and now it lay dormant, now it's something else. Sounds like something right out of what do you call it? Sci-fi movie, but it doesn't mean it's impossible, right? We know that could be true. Wing Chunku N. He said, maybe Godzilla does exist? I know for a fact that Ultraman is real. I don't know about all that, but I mean, but like I said, to me, it's like that stuff could easily be, we'll use the term re-unleashed, because maybe it wreaked havoc back in the day in ancient times, but now it can come back. We don't know. That's true, Scratchy said, because if you reverse the poles on a motor, usually that causes it to rotate and reverse. Yeah, and if you have a pole shift, you know what I mean, on a planet. That's what I heard too, Andrew. He said if you are anywhere in close proximity to the sun, time passes slightly slower. Now I don't know if that's true, but I've heard that myself. That is interesting. And not to mention become a human piece of toast. Or human toast. That would be bad too. Bush Corey, great question. He said, what's more worrying to Earth, asteroids or solar flares? Well, it depends on the size of the asteroid. And again, it's the same thing with the flares. This could be anything, if it's something small, it'll burn up in the atmosphere. And just like the CMEs, if it's weak, it's really not going to play any havoc or do anything to the Earth or anything surrounding the Earth. So it depends on the size of these things, right? That's what it really comes down to. You get an asteroid the size of a state, that's going to really, really, be a bad day. So let's see. Let me see. James, you said, Chris, in my opinion, 95% of the worst infections are man-made in this century anyway. Well, and it could very well be because, again, they're trying to cut down this population crap, which is ridiculous. I mean, I get why they're doing it, but it's kind of a really kind of cruel way of going about it. But they go, it's just natural. People are just dying naturally. Because, again, you don't have to even use any warheads anymore. You just drop this stuff in any country all at the same time and unleash it at the same time. Suddenly the whole planet's got it. So it would not surprise me in the least bit. Can't get enough of that thing. It's just wild looking. Scary too. Nothing like getting singed. Oh. Rachel, you said, I don't think time exists outside of biology. That be biology from U.S. or biology from the stars. I think there's only one distance and travel. Time doesn't exist at all. It may not, because if we think of time as going from point A to point B, but it's maybe because we I don't know if we want to use the term, we just don't know how to travel yet. Because think about it, if you can just travel like in a blink of an eye, is that considered time? I don't know. It's just weird, man. It's just like, we consider it time because it takes X amount of time to get somewhere. But I don't know. Because I heard that before, too. It depends on, I think it depended, what were they talking about at the time? They were talking about something about, oh, God, give me a second here. I'm trying to think if that was, trying to think exactly what the topic, but they were talking about time to go with it, and it's like they said that really time did not exist. Now, I don't know if they were talking about the 11 dimensions at the time or what it was, but there was something about that where they said time doesn't exist between them, and that you can, if you were like a, in a different, let's say in level 10, so to speak, you can literally travel back and forth, and there's no time even taken. Yeah, I mean, it's mind-boggling when you think about that, if that is true, right? Wayne Chunkerwin, you said we have lots of bioweapons that are tested. Dugway Proving Grounds, Utah, Area 52. That is where the U.S. military and government manufacture test biochemical weapons, including laser and nuclear. Well, not so much that, but I mean, if you're getting it from other countries, we don't even know. It's kind of like if they're using China as the scapegoat. In other words, because I heard, like, I think it was either North or South Carolina, they actually had it in a lab as well at the time this was going on. So is it something that they were, like I said, planting in every country and wanted to release it all at once, or at a certain time to make it look like, oh, it did come from China and then spread, so on and so forth. But they wanted to make sure it covered every continent. Now, I think flying back and forth to each continent, of course, it's going to infect, different, states, countries, and everything else. But would it do it that badly? So it's like a group effort to, like, contaminate the whole planet. Just go from, like, one and say, okay, you get this one, you go to this country, you go to this country, or send it out these people, they'll put it in trails and so on. That's the quickest way to do it as far as I'm concerned. And a whole bunch of people get it, and of course they travel everywhere to their loved ones in different states, and next thing everybody's got it in no time. Because, I mean, this did spread like wildfire, right? James Cameron said if only we'd listened back in the 60s and 70s to the warnings about pollution, if we'd started then. Yeah, I totally agree with you. Totally agree. We did, Michael. You said, did you guys cover the Israeli Space General stating aliens exist on Mars as ET USA bases? Yeah, we were talking about that earlier. It's right here on the screen, of course. And, we were basically saying, I mean, there could be some real truth to this. Now, some people say, it's just a bunch of crap. And I've said this in the very beginning. I said it's like a sleight of hand thing where, look what's going on over here, but, don't worry about all your rights disappearing and everything else. We're just going to go ahead and have this. So it's like big news. Everybody's hearing it. Or is it just like I said, like Minister Paul Hellyer, where he's come out with this many a times, and you can look for his channel, where he's talked about this and how there's a lot of aliens that have been coming here for thousands of years. And now we got this guy here coming out. I think it's Rashid or whatever his name is. I could have that totally twisted, but yeah, right there, Eshid. Well, they call it. It looks like a shed to me, but Rashid. But so these guys are coming out more and more. And like I said, we have astronauts have come out with it. So is it all BS? I think there's some truth underlying in this, big time. And I don't think that it's all a lie. Well, again, Wayne, you said there is no time for aliens or other races. Time is a human construct. Well, I mean, we use it to, like, set our days, right? Meaning, for everything we do during the day and everything, it just keeps us there. But so we do see time during the day and night. We do see that, right? But now, like you said, for aliens, like I said, it might be instantaneous travel. So there is no time being taken up. It's like boom, boom, like almost like being on a transporter on Star Trek. You're there within seconds. Oop, there's time. But if it was more instant than that, then it's like blink of an eye. It's like, psh. And even if you call it time, it's what? Nanoseconds? I mean, if you could do that, just crazy. I mean, it's something that might be so hard for our minds to wrap our minds around compared to what we're used to here on Earth. Well, that's true, Rachel. That's a great statement. You said time only exists to us because we have a biological clock. If we were machines that didn't have a biological clock, we wouldn't recognize and travel as time, which is true. Because you wouldn't think nothing ever, right? It's not like you have to worry about, oh, we got to be here at a certain time or whatever, or our life is going to end or whatever it may be. We don't have to worry about that because if you're some kind of AI or if you're some kind of machine, like you're saying, and let's say you never have to worry about dying because you're a machine, then time means what to you? It really doesn't. Drive-by Records Norway says, what about the Israeli dude? Yeah, which we were just talking about, the base on Mars with aliens and Americans. Now, from what we've seen, there's a lot of things on Mars that is not natural. So clearly we know there was a civilization there. If there was, and some people, and I've seen this before, where they said back in the 70s we went to Mars and we started civilization then. Is it possible? Yes. Do I have proof of this? Absolutely not. So it's just hearsay, but it would not surprise me because, like I said, we went to the moon. How many times? We probably continued to go even after they said that the Apollo missions were now over. I believe that we kept going, and I believe we said, hey, we can do this now. All we got to do is have, more oxygen, just carry more oxygen, make sure we got more food, so on and so forth, and let's go to Mars. How do we know? Now, I would think at that point you'd have to have some kind of cryo sleep, because you're talking about back then, would you have gone there 9 or would it have taken you a year to get there? Not 9 months, but a year. Because right now they're saying between 7 and 9 months. Before, remember it was like 9 months to go there? Now it's like 7. So there have been improvements on rocketry. And whatever propulsion. Like some of them say, like the propulsions that they were out now that it's top secret, we can get there in 20 minutes. Now, how true that is, again, I don't know. But that is interesting. Wing Chunkwin, he said, Chris, I was there. They told us to at night that what they were testing was laser. We got tested for blood every month because of the bioweapons and chem weapons. Okay. That's interesting. Pretty cool. I mean, lasers and stuff like that. They've been playing around with lasers for years. And then, of course, they come out with the blue laser, which is really interesting. And pretty cool. Remember that when they first came out with that, the blue laser? And I think that's what they ended up using in the what is the word I'm looking for? The DVD players. They end up going with those. Really, really cool if you think about it. But, they've been experimenting with lasers for years. So it does not surprise me. And, it's high energy. So, yeah. And, you don't want to be next to this kind of energy either. It's kind of like, and it's not the same, but it's kind of like being next to high tension lines where there's a lot of I think they said it can cause cancer and everything else because it's the energy that's in these wires and stuff. So anything high energy you want to stay away from, it just makes sense, right? Josh D said, I know I am an idiot. It now is known that the COVID hit Italy much earlier than maybe before China. Personally, I'm not. I don't think the Chinese made it. If anyone, then the French. Yeah, I don't know about that, but yeah, but it's that's what they say, Wuhan. So whether that is or not, I don't know. But it had to be like mass spread pretty darn quick. Now, I know a lot of people got it in November, December of last year. COVID-19. It's not COVID 2020. They got it last year. I know I had it back then, and maybe another strain of it in February, I think it was. But whatever it was not normal. I've never had anything like that, and I believe that's what it was. Now, a lot of people went to the doctors going, "Oh, I'm sick." Well, it's just an upper respiratory thing. They'll tell you. They didn't know what it was. Now, a lot of people argue that the president knew about it and he done nothing. But if he knew there was something going around but they didn't quite know what it was, that's different. But if he did know, shame on him. Because, like I said, to me, it just seems like, people should have known about it, or they just didn't really have their facts together to know exactly what this thing was. But then after they found, shut the borders down, which he should have done sooner, and that probably would have saved a whole lot of heartache. But even if you were to open it back up, you're still vulnerable, right? So there's really no way around it. Well, it's a little bit more than that, Too Fast TJM. Yeah, you said it spreads like Wi-Fi because that's what the government tells you. It's nothing more than a common flu. It's actually, you're right in a lot of ways, and I would say 95% of that is true. But keep in mind, this was actually a bioweapon. This was actually mixed with other, I think they said it was part of the SARS as well as other COVIDs, because it's not just like one COVID, right? Because they had, I think it was COVID-14 back in 2014, and it was even earlier than that. So they made this concoction up and made this thing. So it's a little bit more potent than the flu. I think they said you could get it faster, gets into the body faster. But basically, it is a flu, But and if you think about it, people go, well, no, you don't understand. It's killing a lot more people. Yes, well, a flu has always killed people. If you think about it, anybody who's compromised has a weak immune system, so on and so forth. True, absolutely. So you could be looked at as the common flu. Either way, it's deadly. To the right people. Well, the wrong people, I guess, if you look at it. Absolutely is not good for anybody who's up there in age or have a very weak immune system or compromised in some way, shape, or form. And that's what they tell you. But that's the same thing you can have a massive cold and pretty much die from it. So, yeah, either way you look at it, it's not a good thing, right? But this has been more spread than a lot of the years prior. And I think that's why they're saying that. It's just more of a pandemic. But we've had these in the past, right? We know that. Of course, it was different things. Plagues, things like that. Wing Chung, when you said Chris is correct, it is a bioweapon, flu or not. Like I told you, I was in the Army base where they had made bio and chemical weapons. And I'm not just pulling out of my rear end. You do some research on it. It's definitely a bioweapon. There's no doubt. It was definitely constructed. Now, whether this was made and mixed with the common flu, so it spreads just like the flu, pretty much has the same symptoms. Now, a lot of people say this is nothing but a hoax. Well, the actual people dying is not a hoax, right? Of course, we have flus that kill people every year. It's nothing new. But it seems to be a little bit more intense this time. So is it because what was the catalyst to spread it a lot faster this year or more mass spread than any other year? And I think that's what they're more concerned about. But it's not even that anymore. It's the lasting conditions you still have. People have like problems breathing more. Just lasting effects from it. So it's kind of weird, man. It's not good, and especially if you get pneumonia from it. Of course, it damages your lungs. You know that. So that's not good. But either way you look at it, it's not a good thing, and a lot of people are dying from this thing. There was just a woman here who was like 30-something years old, gone. Again, I think it's like this big, thing going on where they're just saying, you know what, we can kill off the population. But like I said, if there was let's say she was 35 years old, okay, maybe she had had kids, maybe she didn't read maybe didn't meet the right man or whatever, and she finally meets this man and says, oh, I want to have kids. Well, she can no longer do that. They won't have to pay her Social Security. She won't be sucking up resources. She won't have any kids who will have kids, so they won't be on Social Security. They won't be eating resources. They won't be eating off the planet. Nothing. They're killing generations, not just one person, but generation after generation after generation. Of course, that's the younger people, not the older people, because the older people, they pretty much had their life. They're pretty much done, right? Meaning they're just living out the rest of their lives until whenever. So they, in a sense, they're not going to be in that same category. They'll just be, well, they're older, they're compromised because of maybe health issues or whatever. So then they may die from it. But as far as younger people, so if you can kill off generation after generation, it's less money going out. As crazy as that sounds, but think about that. Now, how many people died worldwide? Do the math. Crazy. Oops, I just jumped here. What's going on, the AB 0303? Good to see you in there. Yeah, you're right about that, Mary. You just get crazy about this thing, man. It's like COVID this, COVID that. I can just go, you know what? I just do my part because, like I said, I work around a lot of people, so I just assume do my part. And I just go about my business. I just live my life the way I want. Don't get me wrong. I'm not just selfish, not just thinking about myself. I try to, do for other people and stuff like that. It's only proper anyway. Just, like I said, just do your part and just, then just go about your life. Everybody's thinking, oh, I'm so tired of being in the house. You don't have to be now, but some places are on lockdown. So, yeah. Either way, like I said, you just have to be careful about this stuff. Pete Ferrero, you said COVID-19 mixes with coronavirus used in flu shots to become really deadly. Well, again, all they have to do is put a little more, a little extra, if you will, into these COVIDs. And, just mix it up just right and it becomes super deadly. So it becomes a super virus, even though it can still be considered, because if you think about it, a cold is still, considered a COVID. Because doesn't it have the same, you look at the COVID, look at all of the effects that it has on you, trouble breathing. Basically like flu-like symptoms. People get sick from it, like vomiting and stuff. Oh, just kind of crazy stuff. But either way you look at it, it seems like it's like unprecedented compared to some or the earlier years. Now, some of them, like I said, when you think about bubonic plagues and things like that, totally different. Kills millions, right? Not good. Let me jump down to the bottom here. Max K, you asked a question. How's everyone feeling about taking the vaccine? I've said this myself. Me personally, I'm not going to. Like I said, I think I've had it. And if I have, I've overcome it the first time. Now, how many guys have heard this? Guys or ladies, of course. I only refer to generalization. They say that, you got an immune system for a reason, right? We all know that. And it's to build up immunity to a lot of these things that you get. So therefore, in the future, there's a less chance of you getting sick from that, something similar to that. But they say the antibodies only last like a month or two in the body. Is that true? You guys heard the same thing? So this is the reason why you can get it again. But I find that hard to believe because, I've been super sick when I was younger. And I think it was some kind of flu. I had it for almost like a freaking week, for crying out loud. And I wasn't sick after that. Now, of course, you get little colds here and there, but nothing really bad. Like my first cold of the season, I get it's really bad, and it's not too bad after that. And then it's like little tiny colds. It's no big deal. But I don't get super sick. You know what I mean? So have you guys heard the same thing? They're saying that like it's like you only get the antibodies, the antibodies for like a couple months and then they're gone. What's that all about? I don't think that's true, but that's what I heard. Oh, is it, Josh D? Really? In the Netherlands, it is now law to take vaccine. Man, see here, it's against our rights. Now, they did say it would be mandatory and anybody that's in the health care and something similar to that, and of course, ambulatory and all that other good stuff. So that is actually, they have to get it. But if they told me tomorrow, it's like I said this before, if they said, hey, listen, if you want to continue to work, you have to get this. Good seeing you. You guys will see a whole lot more videos being put out by me because I'm not doing it. You're not going to force me into something I don't want to do. Pete Ferrero, you said power shut down now and the hospitals are screwed. Oh, that ain't good. Where's that at? Scratch, you said I won't take it. I had a bad flu jab about 5 years back. couldn't hardly move for over 5 months, never again. Yeah, I mean, that's what a lot of people say, like, hear the professionals say, well, listen, when you get the flu shot, you don't get the flu. It is. It's literally a little bit of that, basically that flu is in that shot. So you build up antibodies to it. Now, again, if you have a weak immune system, you're going to be affected by it. You'll actually get the flu. The people who have a strong immune system will probably just get a little sniffle and, no big deal. But they are literally pumping this crap into your body. So how is this other one, the new vaccines coming out, how is that any different? Come on. But regardless, it's like, some people have some serious side effects. And I heard that, like I said earlier in the broadcast, I said that, I heard from the UK, people were literally starting to get side effects from these things, and it literally just started taking them. So some people are getting a little bit here and there, but we're going to see. And a lot of people in my area here in the States are saying, listen, I'll see how they make out first. And if they're okay, maybe I'll think about getting it. But like I said, for me, no, it's a no. But that doesn't mean I stand for everybody. You guys, according to yourselves, you do what you got to do. It's your personal, it's you. Basically in a nutshell, right? In other words, it's your decision to do that. Me, I'm good. Ab0303 says, no vax for me. I hear that. Charlene, you said, if it ain't broken, don't fix it. Pretty much. Well, yeah, because whatever illness you have, Terry, you said, Chris, you don't die from COVID-19, you die with it. It's an underlying illness you have. Right. And so you have something in your body. It's like the catalyst. Like, I don't know if you guys heard this, but if you're taking ibuprofen, it's kind of like a catalyst to it. It literally, helps it really infect your body. Now, I'm no doctor, or bioscientist or whatever it may be. I'm not like any of that, but that could very well be. But because you have an underlying physical problem, yeah, you could have some serious issues with it. Because again, let's say you have heart problems. All of a sudden now you got a problem breathing because of the COVID. Well, there's your problem. And the underlying problem, it just magnified it or weakened you and killed you. Some people just get weakened and they still come out of it. In other words, they end up in the hospital. They're on some kind of respirator. Somehow they pull through it and they're good to go. But and even then, there's still lasting effects even after that. And they say some of them you can't get rid of, which is really weird. But exactly, Scratch. You said I trust my own immune system. It's why it's why I have it. Exactly. Max K, the only thing I can say is just look into that. That's what I would do. Just look into it and see, like you're talking about. And you said you don't really know what to do. Just look online and just check that out and research the hell out of it. That's what I do. And, it just, knowledge is everything, right? So that's what you want. What's going on there, Chris Bomay? I haven't seen you in there. He said traveling to countries won't be allowed without taking vaccine. Yeah, that's what I heard. You can't even go on there, so you got to have proof that you did get the vaccine. And I said, well, it's like I told my wife the other day, if we're traveling in the States, I'll take the car. I'm good. Oh, I know. I've seen that too, Phil Cox. You said vaccine makers have total immunity from being sued. Oh, imagine that. Now, why would they have to worry about that? Should work for everybody, right? It's good. Got the 2 vaccines so far. Yeah, well, they're just saying, well, in case you have some kind of weird side effect and it should kill you off, your family can't, come back with repercussions. We can't be sued. Not cool. That's why I would go, yeah, I give you the big bird and say, I'm not taking it. I'm good. Elaine Millard said, no vax for me. I might have had it in February. Right side of the face all came up as if I've been hit on the right side. Pot, lost smell, taste, no cough, but was washed out more than... Yeah, exactly. So, like I said, I know that I had it at some point too. I mean, it is what it is. If you got over it the first time, your immune system's pretty strong, and it'll continue to do that. So... Daniel, you said, I think I have had it twice. I quarantined myself and didn't even go to the hospital. I quarantined myself and didn't go to the hospital. I might have had the mild version. And you might have. Or because your immune system is pretty strong, or, whatever it is. I don't know if you typically have a strong immune system, but if you do, great. You know what I mean? You may get less effects from it. You know what I mean? Leslie Warren, you said the Spanish flu mutated, so it killed fit and healthy and young. Could happen again, Chris. Absolutely. And like I said, a lot of times when people get these flu shots, I think it's funny because they go, I get a flu shot every year. Okay. But here's the problem. Let's say it's circulating and it mutates like you're talking about, Leslie. So now the strain you got the shot from is different. It's now a different strain. So now it comes back around, you still get it. What was the point? Now, don't get me wrong. You can safeguard yourself. It's not a problem. That's why I leave it up to everybody. Listen, don't look for me for advice. I'm just giving you my opinion. I'm saying if you think you should get it, you should. Because, you want to be safe too. But everybody's so weary about it because it's come out so quickly. And now like they're talking and saying, well, you can't sue us now because we've, basically got this in writing. So you're not going to sue us for it. Well, hell, if you can't warranty it, then I don't want it. It's like going out and buying a car. It's like, oh, by the way, we don't warranty this. But I just paid $70,000 for it. I don't care. We don't care. That's your problem. It breaks down. That's on you. Oh, really? So you got no liability on this? You're not liable for any of this? Oh, no. I'm good. You can shove it. That's the way I look at it. What's going on there, Mervyn Gravel? You said, hi, Chris. Merv from UK. I had a 2-day fever in June and extreme tiredness, sweating, etc. I think I had it. I have had it. Well, yeah. Again, people have different symptoms of it, but regardless, if you know it's out of the norm, like every year you get a certain cold or a flu, maybe even get the flu a little bit, but you get it. All of a sudden, it's something totally out of the ordinary. You had something that you've never had before, or it's to the extreme. So one way or the other, you probably had it. Where did this thing just go? I just was watching. John Hookings, you said that no, the flu shot doesn't contain any live virus, so you can't get it. The reaction to coronavirus shot has been a couple of cases out of thousands, and then in people with bad allergies only. Well, that's, again, people are different, right? So if the average person's okay, that's fine. But, at some point, you got to ask the questions, what is in this stuff then? Because I don't think people should be just taking it just because they say, by the way, you should take this. It'll take care of it. Okay, they might be 100% correct on that. But I don't know. I've always been wary about stuff like that. Now, if it came to, let's say you had, something wrong with you and you had to take a medication. I'm not big into medications to begin with. But if you had to, I'm not stupid. I would literally take it if I had to. If they said, listen, you need to take it. Or you're going to have some severe problems or die from it. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's one thing you can't be. You can't be totally stupid about it. But when they come out with something that fast and then they're saying, well, we're going to have no liability to this, and there's 2 different ones, and you got to get 2 shots, and it's got to be, like I said, if it's a Pfizer one, you get two of that same one. You can't go Pfizer one and then the other one get the second shot. You can't do that. It's got to be two of one kind of 2 of the other. And it's just weirdness. Now, once it's being used more and more, maybe people will be more relaxed about it and be okay with it after that. But so many people are just they're just weirded out by it. It's just kind of sketch, if you ask me, James Cragen said, Chris, I work for a pharmaceutical company that makes vaccines for the multitude of viruses and the infections, etc. And I swear I never ever did see a vaccine being tested and prescribed so fast, honestly. And that's what I'm saying. A lot of people are saying that, just going, how do they come up with this so quickly, Of course, it's all about that money, like I said. First one that comes out with it has the bigger wallet. So that's what I don't like about it. Well, it's like me, Miss Here. You said I caught the flu about 4 times in my younger years. I haven't had a flu in 30 years. That's like me. Same thing. You have it when you're older. Your immune system builds up to it, and you don't have it after that. But according to this, you can get it again more than once. Now, I don't know how true that is. Now, some people have said right here that they have caught it more than once, and that could very well be. Or it was just something that came along, and it kind of similar to the effects you had on the COVID. So I don't know. But either way, it's not good. Good advice there, Rachel. You said you're talking to Too Fast TJM. Stay healthy, get your blood panel tested and everything regularly. I just went and did mine today. I had everything checked. Just the annual stuff you do, you know. Get it checked out. If there's any problems, let's rock it. Let's get it done. That's the way I look at it. Max K, you said, yeah, I think if it was compulsory, then I'd have to. I have to, but you can't find the ingredients for the love, not money. So it's hard to make a decision. Won't tell you. Exactly. You know, just go ahead and take it. We promise you won't get it after this. Okay. Elaine Millard, you said my dad had flu shots last year, then got flu anyway. But none of the rest of us got it from him. Well, yeah, because it was actually in the shot. But, you know, so he got it and then he was fine. And it probably didn't, you know, I don't know if you guys are a distance from him and didn't really get really close to him, but whatever. Oh, there's a thumbs down. Man, I thought he was slipping. I say, man, where's that thumbs down? He's got to be there. We appreciate you for being there. At least you're paying attention to the channel. We appreciate that. Let's see. John Hookings, you said, Chris, apparently the vaccine attacks the spiky things on the virus, making them unable to stick to the cells. Perhaps the vaccine was quickly produced because they already had it. Well, here's the funny part. Like I said, I talked to a military. This is a woman that came in there, and she came into the store that I was at, and she said right out, she's military, and she said, listen, this thing was designed to look like an antibody to begin with. This is the reason why the body wouldn't attack it. So that may be part of the reason why some of these, this is the reason why the body's not fighting it off. And you know what I mean? Because the body doesn't see it as a threat. It just sees it like one of the other cells. So it's designed to look like an antibody. Now, how true that is, I don't know. I truly don't. But that kind of makes sense if you think about it. Alrighty then. Guys, I think we're going to wrap this bad boy up. I got to go out, like I said, I got to go out and get one of those little small fridges for now, and until I can replace this. Like I said, I got to wait for a week for that. The good old fan in the refrigerator thing. Compressor and everything's still working perfectly, and it's just the fan took a dump, which is just awesome. Thankfully, we have a backup deep freezer. We can put everything in the freezer. Well, not stuff in the refrigerator, but the stuff that was already in the regular freezer. So we're good there. We didn't lose a whole lot of anything, which is good. But excuse me. Let me get another sip of that. Take another hit of that. But like I said, guys, I may not be on next week. You can just check back anyway, just for the heck of it. But because I am on vacation next week, I got a lot of things to do, and probably around the house and a bunch of other stuff. So we won't be doing much of anything next week, but just chilling. But as always, guys, it's always awesome to just be with you guys. It's just cool. I like spending the time with everyone. It's just great. The support is overwhelming. Just by being here and just conversing with everybody, it's just that support as far as I'm concerned. And it just starts right from there. So it's just awesome that everybody's here and be able to do the things that they do. Sharing information, talking amongst each other. Just great people, period. And, of course, all the other ways of supporting the channel is just awesome. You guys are great. But I'm going to let you guys rock and roll. Everybody have themselves a fantastic week. I got to work tomorrow, but after that, we can just be chilling. So it'll be awesome to be able to do that. Colder weather next week, but it is what it is. I'm not going to cry about it. Any time out of work is like a blessing. I think some of you guys know what I'm talking about. So thanks for everybody being here. It's just awesome. I love you guys all. You're just, just a great bunch of people. I can't say enough about you. And, just keep doing the research. checking stuff out. We'll have more stuff to talk about. Like I said, you can still check back on Friday. If you don't see anything on there, you don't see me go live, then clearly I'm still working, getting some things done, so it's going to be a little more difficult. But if for some reason I just happen to get it all done, great. I'll spend the time with you guys again because I love doing this, so we'll definitely jump on there with you. Anyway, guys, do stay safe. Thanks for everybody being here. You guys are awesome. Love you guys all, and we'll see you guys next time right there. So, we'll definitely get this piece of junk fixed. Anyway, guys, peace. We'll talk to you guys soon.